Hello everyone, where's Matt gone? Hello! Welcome to the Train Sim World roadmap. And I'm going to try and make sure Matt doesn't disappear. Hello everyone, how are you all doing? Welcome into the stream. Make sure you let us know how the audio levels are sounding. But it's a very special stream today because it's the first Train Sim World 7 roadmap. And of course, we're joined by our regular host, but very special guest, the wonderful Mr. Matt Pendleton. How are you doing tonight, Matt?
I am doing very well, thank you, Alex. I've got my my trusty TSW7 t-shirt on.
Train Sim World 7
And
t-shirts. There it
there
is.
you are.
Let me check the chat. I think if I open this, you'll go away for a second, but then you'll be right back. Hello. Yes, we can all hear us feeling excited. Welcome in, everyone. If this is your first time tuning in to a Train Sim World roadmap, then, well, firstly, welcome in, because you're very much appreciated. We're going to be streaming for a little while, and we're going to be talking about every single thing that we've announced over the last couple of days, from Train Sim World 7 through the Dovetail Direct, through all the awesome new add-ons that are coming. It's an exciting, it's an amazing time if you're a Trains fan, or if you're just excited to just jump into the rails and have some fun. Matt, just before we dive into everything, is there anything you want to open with?
I just want to say big thank you to everybody for all of the response that we've seen to the the announce that we did. It was really good fun, watching what everyone was talking about during the process of the announce. It's quite unusual this year. I just want to say a big thank you. The team have been seeing some of the stuff that you've all been saying, and it's very much appreciated.
And yeah, sorry folks, I just turned off my light as well because I realized I was like practically nuclear. We're not leaking GTA 6 tonight. There is a Train Sim World 7. Who's that? Tim. You gotta check out the Dovetail. That's what you're here for. Well, you're in the right place. We're gonna tell you all about it. We don't have more of these t-shirts, as I know. And can I just say as well, someone in the chat said thank you for the IC4. It is so wonderful that when we announced Train Sim World 6 a year ago, there were so many people requesting and hoping for the IC4 for it to come this year with 2017. So I'm hoping that you're all loving it. We're going to go through all of the core content. We're going to talk about it. We're going to tell you some more details. But can I just say, the Dovetail Direct that we recently had, so that was a couple days ago, huge announcement show that we usually do every year. And we talked a lot about Train Sim World 7. As also some awesome updates and new DLC announced for Thomas and Friends Wonders of Sodor. Can I just say, it was our biggest show yet. We just about kind of touched into the 10,000 viewers watching live, which is insane. And as a little bonus note, and again, I'll just caveat these numbers are generally quite rough, but we had over 100 million people seeing something about Train Sim World 7. 100 million people. So we call that reach, and it's like audience, basically just people that were seeing things about it. And one of the big things that helped get to that point was obviously Train Sim World 7 was announced on Gamescom in opening night live, which was an awesome, just an amazing project to get Train Sim World in. I think we were the second trailer when the pre-show started off. So if you saw it on Gamescom, that's brilliant. And if you were one of the community members that were hanging out and wondering, hold up a minute, I'm seeing the store pages, I'm seeing Train Sim World 7, I'm checking Dovetail Social, but they've not said anything. There was a weird window of 30 or so minutes where we've announced Train Sim World 7, but we kind of hadn't. And that was simply just because we were on Gamescom. So if you saw us on Gamescom, they're brilliant. If you're wondering why that happened, it's partly because of Gamescom. Not their fault. We're just extremely excited to be involved. And ultimately, it's been a brilliant time to announce the game. So there we have it. But anyway, super excited. If you haven't checked out our Dovetail Direct, there's some really fun, weird animations. It's a brilliant production this year. Check it out. It's on the YouTube channel. I think it's just passing about 100,000 views, which is also just amazing. And huge props to the team because that was truly a labor of love. But if you haven't seen it, that's okay. And if you have, well, we're going to be talking about everything in it anyway. So I'm going to switch over to some of our incredible graphics. We're going to just get rolling. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. We're going to start with Train Sim World 7. We're going to move into the Train Sim World roadmap. There are so many add-ons. We announced over 12 new add-ons. And then also we continued the conversation with about another 15 or 20 of them. So there's a lot to cover. So we're going to get started and we're going to talk about all the exciting new things that you can see. Now, this is a roadmap stream, but before we do that, I want to just plug the Dovetail Games Discord. And the image is a little old, but don't worry about it. If you haven't joined one of our biggest growing community spaces, you can for free. Discord, if you use it, then great. If you haven't, then why not jump in? Because it's completely free. And we share all of our news, all of our articles, all of our communication through there. And there's over 12,000 people in a Discord now, which is insane. But the link's at the top of the screen, discord.gg/Dovetail Games. Go ahead and join. And get involved, because you'll find myself and you'll find people like Matt Ped, as well as all of our team in there, engaging and interacting and answering your questions as well. But we're here for a roadmap, so there's a roadmap on screen. Now, this was made with love from various people, and we actually added in a couple extra notes for the Class 70 and a mild mainline extension. I know some of you are watching right now who are asking, where have they been? They're on the roadmap now. I apologize. There was a couple of amendments we had to add on, but it's just because there's so much on it, and I hope you can appreciate that there is a ridiculous amount of content coming soon, and I hope there's something for everyone here, whether you're looking for the first time to go to Japan with the Tadami line, first time to go to Portugal with the Lisbon Setúbal, or you're just looking for anything new for the UK, for Germany, for Austria, or Romania. Is anyone a Romanian fan? There's a lot of stuff on this roadmap. So take in the glory while it's on screen, but don't worry, again, we're going to dive through all of this as we go. Why don't we talk a little bit about Train Sim World 7? Okay. So Train Sim World 7 is the latest in the Train Sim World series. It is releasing on September 15th. Now, you may think to yourself, that's not even that far away. Of course it isn't. But it's releasing on September 10th as well if you pre-order our Deluxe or Ultimate Edition. So we have some wonderful editions and they come with various content. And you can pre-order all of those editions right now on console and on PC. So that's Steam, Epic Games, on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series S and X. And if you do pre-order them, you get a wonderful 10% discount. So take a look at that if you're interested. But we're here to dive into all of the specific details, all of the routes, all of the information that we can. So if you want to find that information out, you can do that. We have articles, we have FAQs, we have all those bits. But if you're watching, you want to just hear about the good stuff. So we're going to start in the UK. We're going to start home turf with the newest UK route coming in Train Sim World 7. It's the Airedale and Wharfdale network, Leeds and Bradford to Skipton and Ilkley. I'm just going to pause on this wonderful graphic, and we have some truly wonderful images to show you today. And this is really a summary of what's to come. And again, a little spoiler for some of the deluxe content we're going to be talking about in a minute. But for this route, you're going to be heading to the north of England, and you're going to be going through commuter hills of Yorkshire aboard Northern Traction. So we have the Northern Class 331, as well as included in this route will come the LNER Class 801, as well as the Class 66 and the Limestone Hopper wagons. So you've got a lot there. You've got a network route. It's about 54 miles of track with 19 stations. And the best part is you're just going to be bouncing from one of these different endpoints to the next. And as you can see on this next image here, we've got a bit of a route map. Just look at that. You've got so much track to explore. I think you're going to have a lot of fun and a lot of gameplay here. Now, Matt, actually, as we still talk about gameplay, I think you've been hands-on with this a lot more than I have. What are you feeling about the Airedale and Wharfdale network?
I mean, this is I put it simply, I love this route to bits. The scenery is spectacular, and I like how you go from like the busy bit in Leeds, where it's all sort of very city. By the time you get up to Skipton, it's looking like the Settle and Carlisle line, some of the most beautiful countryside in the UK. But obviously, you've got Bradford, you've got Ilkley, you've got this whole network where you've got different things going on. At Shipley, you've got the Triangle Station. But above and beyond all of that, you've then got these extra bits, which we quite often don't get to, which is one of the things I'm really happy here. So east of Leeds, you've got Neville Hill Depot, and then you've got Hunslet, the freight terminal there. And then north of Skipton, you've got Rillstone freight terminal as well, which means that 66 is going to be very, very busy running up and down the line, doing stuff. And the operations are quite interesting. They go from Rillstone to Skipton, run around, then run down to Neville Hill, run around, and then go down into to Hunslet. So it's brilliant. It really is. There's so much variety and layers of traffic and so forth. And the HYA wagon, as you can see in some of these screenshots, has got two different color variants, livery variants as well. So it's yeah, I am playing a lot of this route, and I can imagine myself playing a lot more of this route to come. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I'll just roll some of the screenshots that we've got that we've shared in our roadmap on some of our store assets as well. Like I said, you can actually watch some clips of gameplay from our Dovetail Direct and some of the videos that we'll be sharing over the next few days as well. So be sure to look out for that if you haven't already caught it. But some truly wonderful images. And again, I think the thing that I'll highlight on this route, especially, but also all of the Train Sim World core content, is that there's a lot. There's a lot that you get included. And starting off, I mean, we've got the 331, the 801 LNER that you see here, as well as the Class 66, as well as a new the HYA wagon that you mentioned there. I think it's just on the left of this window, peeking in. There's a lot included with that, and on top of it, if you want to read more about the layers in our FAQs, you can do. But the layers also go really well with this route. You've got the Northern BR Class 333 that will layer on. You've got the Class 158 Northern, which will layer on. And you've also got additional AI services, rail tours, the railhead treatment train, additional freight, and much more. So it is going to be a busy route, and I think it's really going to bring a lot of your UK collections that you've been building in, and it should just be a wonderful experience. But yeah, Matt, I'm going to move over to the 333. Is there anything you want to touch on with the 331? I mean, what's so special about this train?
I mean, 331 is a different manufacturer actually that we've never had a train from CAF in the game before. So the 331 is interesting. It's a really fun one to drive because it's quite responsive. And obviously, but this train, even more so than the 333, has got the full width cab and you're driving from the centre position. So you get a really nice view of everything that's going on. So, and if I remember rightly, I think it comes in the 3 and the 4 car versions as well. So I'm like I said, I'm driving a lot of the 331 and the 333, and they both got different, different quirks about them as well with how they go on. 331 is they're both single handle power brake controller trains, but there's a quirk we'll get to on the 333 in a minute, which is really fun. But yeah, 331 is it's just a nice, fun, responsive train. You can throw it about a bit.
We've been teasing a little bit, but let's see the 333. And we had a lot of jokes about this in the direct, about it looking a bit fishbowl-like and it looking a bit odd. I just think it looks really iconic. I think it stands out a lot compared to the 331. But of course, if you've not seen this before, this is a staple, especially for this network route that you're getting. This is a very iconic commuter unit that you can find on the route doing Skipton shuttles or Bradford bound runs and Ilkley local runs as well. And of course, it's going to have suspension. I've seen a few people ask questions about onboard announcements. Of course, that'll be included, suspension as well. But yeah, this is truly quite an interesting looking train. And I would say, for me, I think having that interesting kind of appeal from the front end of it for a UK train, I think that's quite fun. And then we've got a little graphic here about everything including the route as well. So Matt, go on, tell me what's so special about the 333? I think you had a little bit of a clue there to what you were talking about.
Well, the interesting thing with the 333 is it's about when you want to open the doors, and this will catch you out every single time until you get used to it. In this train, the reverse has to be neutral for you to open the doors. Most other trains don't have that. It doesn't matter what
Interesting.
but this one, the doors physically will not open. Don't worry, we've added a driver assist if you need reminding of that. So yeah, that's really interesting. There's also when I was driving it, it reminded me so much of driving the 465 from Southeastern as well. So and the cab is harks back to that too. So it's again, this one's fun. It sounds different. It behaves different. It's another good one.
Yeah, I'll just throw in an answer to, I think, a question we see come up quite a bit. Of course, this is a deluxe loco. So if you pick up the Airedale and Wharfdale network in standard edition, you would need to pick up the class 333. But if you pick up deluxe edition, you get all of this included, as well as the routes we're going to talk about in a moment. But if you want to pick this up individually, you can as well from launch on the 15th, but you can do that too. So I hope you're really excited. Again, we have a lot more to cover, so I'm going to touch on the US side of things, and there's some really exciting stuff there. But like I said, dive through our articles, FAQs. We have a lot that you can explore on our website, our fancy new website, I will admit, because we've updated it recently too. But I'm really excited for the 333. I think people have been spamming Fishbowl in the chat as well, which I think is really fun. So I think for UK players, I've seen some really great feedback, and I can't wait to get this in your hands. But we've got somewhere that we need to go to, somewhere that we haven't been in before in Train Sim World, somewhere highly requested. It's Florida with Tri-Rail Miami. This is the Miami Airport to Boca Raton route. And I'm going to again pause so we can look at this wonderful graphic. And we've got the GP49 there as well. But you're going to be getting all aboard for the Sunshine State of Florida for the first time in TSW. You've got Tri-Rail as well. What an absolutely iconic brand to have in Train Sim World. Wonderful liveries to have in the game as well. I think they just look incredible. They really stand out against a lot of other US content I've seen with the blues, with the trees. They look wonderful. They look amazing under the sun. And you're going to also be getting some CSX power as well. And then you're going to be driving between South Florida from the Miami airport through Fort Lauderdale and then to Boca Raton. So we've got a picture of the route map. Now, Matt, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think you've got a little bit of a sweet tooth towards the US kind of content. Tell me about what's special with this.
I mean, so the thing for me with the Florida route, and I was really happy with being able to get Tri-Rail in the game. We've actually tried in the past, and I don't know if anyone remembers on TS Classic when we did the Miami route on that one. It's unbranded, and so we were able to work with Tri-Rail, and not only were they nowadays they were happy to be in the game. They welcomed the team with open arms. I think that normally, with one operator in particular in the past, I think it from requesting a reference trip to getting the reference trip, I think was 3 years. With Tri-Rail, when we said, "Look, can we get a reference trip?" They basically said, "Yeah, you can come next week if you want."
Oh,
I
I've got
mean,
some
it
photos of
was
that as well. Let me put that on screen.
yeah, so we were able to get out there, and not only that, because they don't really run the GP49s lots at the moment, and so so it's kind of like, well, can we see if we can get the GP49 so that we can get reference on it as well? I think there's two of them, if I remember rightly. So the team were out there, they got that, they got the BL36, they got the GP49, and lots more. So it's kind of they really rolled the red carpet out for the team, helped them so much, gave them access to anything they wanted access to. It was fantastic. I think the team had, I think, 2 weeks out in Florida, which was obviously terrible. I think actually it was the coldest Florida had been in a long time. It was really ironic. They went from the UK to Florida being super cold, and then came back to it being nice and warm in the UK again. It was quite a trip. But yeah, no, they got lots of really good reference, lots of really good access, including to the engineers and operators as well. So they got lots of questions answered about these things. So couldn't get better access, to be honest. So yeah, I want a big shout out to Tri-Rail for all the help they've given us in getting this. Is what levels the whole thing up, to be honest. And yeah, so and not only that, when it comes to the stock in this one, we were able to get the F40PH in 2 liveries, the BL36 in 2 liveries, the Rotems in 2 liveries, which is kind of represents the vast majority of the stock on the line. And then obviously in the deluxe there, you've got the GP49. Now the GP49, I hadn't really appreciated this, but that makes sense once the audio team explained it to me. It's a rattly train. It's old, it's rattly. Because I was saying, what's this horrendous noise in the cab? Can you fix it? And they're like, I'm not fixing it, there's nothing wrong. Basically, when they were recording this thing, they had to hold panels down to try and minimize the noise in the cab. It was brilliant, and that there's a number of other features and facets of these trains that they were able to capture in the audio that might sound not normal or not how you might expect it, but they're there intentionally because that's how the trains were when they were recording them. So, yeah, huge shout out. Oh, and looking at the screenshot that's just come up on mine is the CSX. So we were able to get the GP38 and SD40 in because down in the southern part of this route, there's got a lot of freight. We put the Duramax Rock Hopper in as well as a new car because that's sort of a unique thing that goes on in the southern part of the route. So yeah, there's tons of variety, lots of different trains with lots of different driving characteristics. The BL36 is the modern super train. It's all the mod cons. And then you've got the F40 somewhere in the middle, and the GP49 is your old classic rattly train. It's scenery is fabulous. I mean, I really like Florida. My father-in-law used to live in Florida until Hurricane Charlie encouraged him to move to Tennessee. So it's yeah, it's a magical place, and I love how the team have recreated it a lot. Sorry, I could talk about this route for ages and
No, it's
ages
all
and
good.
ages.
I think the thing that I really love seeing again is like I see Cleveland in the chat as well could have added the rattling noise. Definitely take a look at we've got an extract in our Dovetail Direct where you can kind of jump to the timestamp, and we've got an interview with our audio team in our roadmap and in our recent articles from the Introducing Train Simulator 7 article. Take a read. They had such a blast being there in person, really getting that authentic audio through, and they've got that rattly feeling, and they've really just added that level of immersion. And can I just add as well, I'll go back to some of the images as they cycle through. One of the coolest things that they talk about adding to this route, and it's a very special feature, is that we've got passenger announcements, which should be expected, and they
Oh
sound
yeah,
brilliant. But we've got them in English and in Spanish and in Haitian Creole. So that is true to life. In real life, you get it in the three languages, but we've got that in Train Sim World as well because they wanted to go that distance. So you're getting a very much a true audio authentic experience, I think, with this one. And I think Matt, you said it exactly. Included in this route is a lot of stock. Okay, you're getting the BL36PH, which is the new loco from in the Tri-Rail Palm Tree and the dark blue liveries. You're getting the F40PH-3C, that's a diesel loco, but you're getting that in the Tri-Rail dark blue. You're getting the Rotom cars and a cab car in the Tri-Rail Palm Tree and the dark blue. You're getting the SD40-2 and the GP38-2 in their CSX liveries. You're also getting the Duramax Rock Hopper. And if you get Deluxe Edition, you're getting the Tri-Rail GP49-3 as well. And there's additional layers you can also get. I think there's an inspection train service that uses the Amtrak X Metroliner cab car from New York Trenton.
that one's a trip. That one's a trip. Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to you all getting your hands on that as well. And then there's additional freight cars as well. There is so much that layers in, and there's so much that comes with the base route on this. So I really hope that US fans are going to be excited about this one. It's a trip to Florida. It's a great route. It should be busy. It should be fun, but it also is packed full of everything that you could want. What a trip!
Just
And
on
again, it's
the
all colors.
you mentioned the announcements. That's actually a really good additional shout. Is the teams have been working really hard on not just recreating like the languages and so forth, because we had to extend the announcement system to cope with multiple languages for this. But the actual announcements themselves are the original announcements that are on the stations. We got them sent over from the people that run the passenger information systems themselves. So those are not just recreations of them, they are the actual announcements on those systems. And we also worked with LNER and Northern on the Airedale route, and those are original announcements as well, not just recreations. So we're trying to see where we can try and extend and get real, actual announcements from the people who make those things.
And I think again, it just shows like just if we can get that access, the team is so passionate to get this right. I really hope you will enjoy it when you can try it. When does this release? Leaf Loving Man, September 15th is our official launch date. You can pre-order now, and if you do pre-order Deluxe Edition, you can get it from September 10th. And you should probably expect to see a lot of content on September 10th because all of our ambassadors and creators will be getting it soon enough. So hopefully that looks good. And I think we saw someone as well there saying, was it trackside? Yeah, it looks great. You're a local down in Miami. Well, tell us how it is if you get a chance to get into the route as well. So thank you for that. But hopefully that should be really bringing a great immersion and a really great experience, I think, for US fans. We're obviously missing one of our key regions, Germany. I saw someone talking about this route. They called it Nubu, which I really liked. So that's the name on my outliner. Nuremberg to Würzburg is the official name. And again, if you're talking about included stock, let me just pause on this image here. You're getting a lot in this one. And obviously, I'm not going to mention the elephant in the room, the IC4. I'll mention it lightly. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in a minute. Let's talk a little bit about Nuremberg Würzburg as a route, though. And again, look at that stock. In this route, you're going to be getting a really wonderful and very scenic trip through the low peaks of Bavaria. But it's also a long distance, 100+ kilometer route with 19 stations, speedy regional services through valleys and continental commuter units, as well as ICE traffic. No spoilers. I mean, it's on the screen. I mean, what can I do at this point? But it will be a sprint from city to city. And I think the thing is, you're going to get the new DBBR 440, but also the DBBR 442 in the Nuremberg S-Bahn configuration. You'll get the DBBR 401 IC1, again included with the route, as well as the BR193 Vectron. That is 4 trains. One of them's brand new. And then again, if you're picking up Deluxe Edition, I'm going to say it, you're going to get the IC4. Who has been asking for this? You better put your hand up in chat, because I think most of you have been. I don't want to see IC5. You've just got the 4, okay? But let me show you some screenshots of this. Matt, tell me from the route side of things, what are players going to enjoy most about this?
So you've got, I think you have a map there up at the moment. So one of the things that certainly when we spoke to ambassadors, we started talking to them about this, they were quite excited by how much of Nuremberg we've brought in. So that includes, you see down in the bottom there, that it's kind of there's this big cluster of track, including the Nuremberg RBF, freight yard as well, Rangerbahnhof, and then heading west from Nuremberg via Fürth and all the way over to Würzburg. It's a really interesting drive. It's it's curves and up gradients all over the place. So it's not this is not a high speed line. But it's got a good range of traffic from ICTs to IC1s, IC4s, all sorts of things running up. But intermixed with that, you've got your S-Bahns, your Region Express, Regional Bahns, and all sorts of things, and along with a reasonably good spread of freight in there as well, because obviously you've got Fürth has got a massive freight yard. Obviously Nuremberg is enormous. Würzburg's got a big freight yard, and the stuff along the way as well. So it kind of doesn't matter what bit of German railways you like, in terms of driving experiences. It's on this route. So I know I was really happy with it. There is one really fun scenario I quite enjoyed playing called Square Dance, which involves driving the Vectron effectively around that square in Nuremberg, doing delivering things backwards and forwards, which is quite good because you get to drive on these lines which are a little bit off the beaten path to do that. So that's a lot of fun. So the route it's familiar in terms of the gameplay experience, but I think it's quite a substantial drive from end to end. But there's just so many different trains in there. The 440 is a really nice train. It's a kind of your modern S-Bahn train, so it gets quite nice response. Throw it around a little bit, and yeah, I've been having a blast with this one.
That just answered the question chat as well. And again, we'll talk about it in a moment. But yes, you also get a layer for Nuremberg Ingolstadt with the IC4 from launch, which we talked about again on our FAQs and roadmaps. So if you need to check that out too. But I think this is going to be really exciting. Again, it really links in. I mean, we've obviously got a link between Kassel to Würzburg, which we released back in TSW3, if I've got my knowledge correct. And then obviously Würzburg to Nuremberg, and then obviously Nuremberg to Ingolstadt. So you've got like a kind of connecting network that we're really building. And I think, again, we're bringing some of the most desired stock that people have been asking for. All right, it's time to switch to the slide. We said it enough. The ICE4. Everyone, it is here. I mean, you asked for it. What more can we do? But I think like one of the things that I've been really learning is what makes this so appealing. And I mean, its shape is one. I think some people have an opinion. It's not as curvy as some of the other ones, but included with the release, you'll get the 12 and the 13 car versions. Again, you'll get the onboard passenger announcements. You'll get the suspension and handling. It's just something that I feel like people have been begging for that completes their collection. Is that right, Matt? Have I got that correct? What is it that's really making this just the thing that spammed our chat? The reason it's here?
It's the next big ICE. I mean, there's two ICEs sort of that aren't done. I guess there's the ICE2 as well, but because that looks a lot like the ICE1, the things that sort of stand out, you've got the ICE3 Neo and the ICE4. And the ICE4 is, I mean, some people think they don't like the way it looks. Some people do. I'm in the camp that does. I think it's again, it stands out as being different. And I think it's great. I love the fact that it's such a long train. I mean, it's 12 or 13 cars, the version that we've done. So it's and again, if anyone's wondering about the 7 car, the 7 car requires slightly different cars. So we haven't made the 7 car version. It's not just deleting cars, unfortunately. So yeah, no, we were looking at it. Everyone said they wanted the IC4, so we tasked the team to try and see what they could deliver, and boy, did they deliver! it's good fun. It's responsive, being a modern train, very powerful train. It's only top speed of 265 kmh. This is not a 300 plus kilometer hour train. This is but it's it's got a lot of power at that lower end, so it works well on a route like this.
And I just paused it there for a moment in a cab. I mean, for me personally, I've always found the IC cabs just like it's you hop on board and it's like, yes, I'm ready to fire the warp engines. I'm in a spaceship. This looks so cool. I've got the full desk in front of me. Um, and it truly is very, very immersive. It looks great. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just I'm glad we were finally able to bring this because I think the reactions from everyone has been great. It's the one thing they wanted to see the most. Here it is. Um, so keep telling us what you want. I suppose is the best feedback I can give. But you should have a really wonderful experience with this in game. If you are excited, again, like I said, FAQs, we have some wonderful information that's going to explain more about what you get in all of our content. So we've covered now the core routes and the core locos coming with Deluxe. So again, just a quick rattle through them. In the UK, you're going to get the Airedale and Wharfdale network to Leeds and Bradford and Skipton and Ilkley. That is going to be a full network, 4 endpoints, services bouncing all over, super busy. And with Deluxe, you'll get the class 333 in a northern livery, the fishbowl, if you will. On the US side, we're going to Florida for the first time, 45-mile routes from Miami Airport to Boca Raton. 13 stations, you're going to get loads of different passenger announcements in different languages, which is very immersive and true to life. It's absolutely packed to the brim full of rolling stock, so you're going to get it and you're going to get tons of value. And if you pick up Deluxe, you'll get the GP49. And on screen, we're going to end with Nuremberg to Würzburg, is what you're seeing here. A wonderful 100 plus kilometer route, 19 stations to explore, a ton of stock as well with the new BR440 in a DB Regio livery, as well as additional stock with the 442, the 401 IC1 there, and the Vectron, and of course on Deluxe, as we're seeing it now on screen, the IC4 that you all wanted. But if you pick up Train World 7, is that all you're getting? Is that all that's in the box? Of course not. There's obviously features, there's obviously lots of work the team have been doing on the other side of the systems to make the game feel better. And I have a wonderful graphic that kind of summarizes all of that as best as we can in one. And the big three at the top, but let's be honest, they're all different levels of impactful, however you like it. But we've got a brand new game mode with Freight Hauler. So if you've been paying subtle attention here, everything's had a bit of a freight link in it. New limestone wagon for the UK route, bit of freight with the Vectron on Nuremberg, and of course you've got a lot of freight included with the CSX stock on the Florida Tri-Rail route. So Freight Hauler. Brand new mode. We're going to move freight. I hope you've seen the animation from that being a freight loco and JD as the wagon. I hope you've seen it. But you're going to basically be able to move freight around how you like. You jump into the content. You're going to have a task. You're going to open up your map and it's going to be freight pointed out for you to get to the right destination. Now, all of this will be presented to you. It is your job to get it to the right place. And the best part is, it's not really a case of doing it the right way. It's doing it your way. You're going to use free roam controls. You're going to be able to spawn any loco in your collection to help you do it on the Train Sim World 7 core routes. And basically, it's just get the wagons to the right place, call it a day, and you'll get a debrief screen. I mean, this is going to be fun. And I think the thing that I love the most is you're kind of going to have to figure it out however you like with whatever you got. And that seems like a lot of fun, Matt. I mean, freight, I think we've been looking to do a bit more with, and I hope this really gives that experience. Is this something that you feel like is going to really add to that gameplay for freight fans?
Yeah, I think when we've been talking to people for a while now about what they wanted from freight and why they didn't, why they haven't necessarily gelled with the freight that is in the game, because obviously there is freight, it's in the timetable mode. There's quite a bit going on in there. And actually, one of the key themes that came out from that is the lack of player agency. What that means, in technical term, what it means is, can you choose what you're doing? How much control do you have, or are you just doing as you're told? And in timetable mode, you are literally just doing as you're told. You can't. It's not a case that you're given this is what it needs to look like. You forgot. You go and fix it. And we can't really do that in timetable mode because by the definition of how the timetable works, it kind of has to be predetermined. So that it can run and know where everything is and so forth. So we started thinking about, well, what could we do? And that's where Freight Hauler mode came in, which was more about you layer it on top of timetable mode, so you've still got AI traffic and more importantly, things getting in your way. But actually, all Freight Hauler mode is doing is putting some freight cars in various sidings, assigning them to a place they need to be delivered to, and everything else is up to you. So we thought, we could use the free roam functionality so that you can just say, right, well, I want to spawn a train because it doesn't matter, spawn any trains you want, spawn a train, and then I want to drive that train over there. So I use the free roam and I'll set a path and I'll drive over there. I'll do some shunting in the yard to sort out the train that I want to take to the next delivery place, and then we'll get on and we'll use the free roam to get onto the main line and do some more. So it's kind of like, it becomes interesting. What you could do, for example, let's say, for example, you've found yourself stuck going up a hill because you're a bit overzealous with how many cars you put behind your loco, and you now can't get up any further. Well, get out of the train, shift F, teleport down to the nearest yard, spawn yourself a helper locomotive, drive that up, solve your problems, and create your own gameplay. And not just about the delivering the cars, because fundamentally that's what Freight Hall is asking you to do. But just imagine the situations you can get in and then get yourself out of. And I think that's where there's a lot of fun that can be had with that stuff, and realizing, I'm going to use a BR363 in the yard or a BR294, and then I'm going to spawn a BR185 to then take that somewhere else to the next yard. And I think there's just so much creativity is how you solve these, how you do this. And what I'm really looking forward to is getting some feedback from players about how we expand it and take it forward. I consider this very much a V1. I know how I want to take it forward, but I think now's the time to get player feedback on what to do next, because I think this is super exciting game mode. It's doing something different and building on free roam, and giving you tons of player agency. And it might be too much, in which case timetable mode's still there, scenarios are still there. So it's not going to be for everybody. But I think this will, if you want that really cool freight fix, want that really good freight challenge, then I think that's where Freight Hauler comes in. And let's hear what you have to say about it, and tell us how you want to see it improve, because it's my favorite thing in the game outside of driving on the air and water down.
Been seeing some great questions in the chat. Again, yeah, one thing I think is worth clarifying. So Freight Hauler will work on Train Sim Mod 7 timetables. So that's the Train Sim Mod 7 routes. So you've obviously got the three, the Airedale, Wharfdale network. You've got the Tri-Rail Florida and Nuremberg to Würzburg, but also it's free roam controls. So you can kind of utilize anything in your collection to get the job done. And obviously with free roam controls, the benefit of doing and having that access means that if you run into any problems with how you're spawning trains and what you're causing and the chaos you're adding to the rails, you can obviously just delete trains that are in your way as well. So again, like the task is get the job done. And I think that's the fun part. So I'm excited to see how you all play it. Again, we've got a little bit more on our FAQs, so if you're a bit curious about how it works and what it all means, feel free to dive in. But again, we got so many features to talk about. And if I actually get the feature graphic back up just for a moment, it was a question in chat again. It says, which edition gets which features? All editions of Train Sim World will come with all these features. So that's standard, that's deluxe, and that's ultimate edition as well. There are some of these features that we'll talk about in a moment that are like PC exclusive because they're very PC focused, and we'll talk about those shortly. So those are limited per platform, but all editions will get these, and including if you upgrade using the free starter pack, you'll also get some of these as well, because some of them are just baked into the core, so you get the benefits even if you're just looking to upgrade to the new core. But I'm spoiling myself a little bit for some of the bundles we'll talk about in a moment. And yes, we will talk about the roadmap, of course. We've just got to talk about Train Sim World 7. It's exciting first. Okay, so let's keep the ball rolling. Live weather. This is something I've seen. There's been loads of conversations in the community about this for the last few months, actually, even before we announced. I think it's a feature that people love seeing. It's a feature that people definitely mod. There's lots of mods that can do this, but obviously mods they have different conditions. Not everyone's able to mod their games consoles as well. What this will add is when you are linked into Dovetail Live, you will get a real life weather condition for the route that you're playing, and it is synced to real time. So there's no historic tracking. You can set it to August, but it will be today. But you get the weather it is right now as you play, and that is awesome. And it will dynamically adjust because it will do spot updates and then kind of blend the weather between them. So you could just be driving your favorite UK route and it's probably going to be cloudy. I mean, let's face it, it's the UK. But then then the clouds could ease up and you could just be playing a game, and then suddenly you think to yourself, the clouds are clearing up near Leeds. That's interesting. You could check the weather in Leeds and suddenly you see it's a sunny day. So it's just so interesting that there's that real link, and I think that's so exciting. Is there anything you want to add with live weather, Matt? This must be quite a desired feature, especially with a lot of the way the community talk about it.
I mean, yeah, as you said, there's several mods that have been doing that have been adding live weather via the API, and we added specific functions so that people could do that exactly. So it's really good to see what came in. But the problem is those mods can't be used on a console, and so we're getting lots of players saying it'd be great if everyone could participate in live weather. So we started looking at it, and I polled the beta team actually just to get their view on some things, including live weather, and live weather shot to the top of the desired list. So it's kind of like, okay, got to do it then. Let's get it done. Yeah, it links off back to the back end, and it will go and get the updates for wherever you are. So it pokes the location you are in the world, as in game. So if you're in Leeds, you get Leeds weather. If you're in Nuremberg, you get Nuremberg weather. Gets those down, and you get more updates the more you travel, essentially. So if you stay in the same place, it doesn't need to update it very often, but as you travel, then you'll get more frequent updates. So it should all stay current to wherever the train is. What I love about it is just the subtle changes as you go along. The fact that I get interesting when you're driving, you get an interesting weather, and that weather evolves, and you don't have to think about it. You're not going into the settings and tuning sliders. It's just the weather is what the weather is. It kind of doesn't matter unless you're in that particular place yourself. It doesn't matter what the weather is. The fact is that you know that it's coming from a real location, and as you drive, you're going to a bit where it's heavy rain over this bit of the route, and then it's back to being sunshine again afterwards. And that sort of evolution of the weather as you drive is what actually makes it feel different each time you drive as well.
It's a really exciting feature, and I think again, yeah, someone asked, can you use it to basically be your own weather reporter? You can. You can
Yeah.
drive the routes and figure out where the weather's at. But
Someone asked about whether it works on all routes, and yes, it does.
And look at that. Yes. So again, like as I was saying a little bit before, I won't spoil myself for the next section, but we do have the free starter pack as well. So if you already have a huge Train Sim World collection, you've been supporting us for a long time now, upgrade into Train Sim World 7, and you can basically get this feature upgraded on all of the content you own. How great is that? But okay, we still got, I think there's like another 10 things that's still on the page, but these are some of our bigger ones. And again, I think this is something that I think some people don't necessarily want to see that much. They don't really feel like it's for them. Other people, it's the best thing of all time. I'm talking about simplified controls, or as the way we word it in game, beginner controls. This is driving the train with the thought turned off. This is a feeling. Okay, I'll tell you, as someone that struggles sometimes to set up, and I usually do my 4-up challenges with the safety systems off, because sometimes I struggle too much with them on. This is essentially turning your train into move it with WASD, and I think also a couple other keys. Now, there's a very important thing I want to clarify first. Are we making the simulation? Are we making Train Sim World? Are we catering it to a new audience? Are we dumbing the simulation down? Are we doing this just so we don't have to build complicated physics systems, because that's really hard? No, of course not. I think Matt, you're probably wincing as I say that. That is not the intention. Beginner controls are simply, as they say on the tin, they're for people starting out. I mean, Train Sim World 7 is free for once. You get loads of people jumping in, looking to play Train Sim World, but maybe they've never heard of safety systems before. They don't know what the master control switch does, or it has to be in neutral or reverse, and they don't know how to drive a train. And that makes sense. We have tutorials for this. But some people just want to say, I don't need a tutorial. They just want to slam it in first gear and drive. And beginner controls allows you to do that, which is really, really fun. There are some gimmicks with it. It is definitely a change in the physics system, so there will be some caveats. But for the most part, it's bringing that ease of just getting into the train and having fun and getting it moving. And also the best part is it onboards you best as well for learning the more in-depth simulation and more in-depth controls, because we've mapped some of the way the keys are to what you kind of expect to learn when you step into the full control and the full simulation as well. So for people that do want to pick up beginner controls as a way of learning the game first easier, then we give them that onboarding to then dive into the full sim. So Matt, this is also a really fun one. It's one I'm extremely excited about. What are your thoughts on beginner controls?
I mean, this is one of those things that, well, I personally am probably not going to use simple controls much because I like the full depth simulation. I have seen the reaction of some of the people that have used this, and I've seen people starting to enjoy Train Sim World that would never have considered playing it before. And I think one of the things that we as or me myself as someone who has been playing train simulations now for 26 years. Wow. we forget that what actually the way people who are new to this game see it as there's a brick wall of learning followed by fun, and you don't normally want to go through the brick wall of learning until you know what the fun is. Simple
Mm.
controls means you get to you get to enjoy the fun, you get to enjoy what it's like to make the trains go along, see the routes, get used to the art and the visual, just fall in love with how everything looks and so forth. Um, and then you think, actually, I want to step this up and learn how the train works. At that point, the learning stuff actually that becomes fun. That becomes fun. Or you don't, and you stay with simple controls. Point is, we get more people enjoying the game and help people just find the fun and just the love of trains. Some people they love trains. They don't want to get into all of the complexity of how they work. And you've got that choice. But no, if you like your full controls, your expert modes, and all of that lot, nothing is changing there whatsoever, or deviating resources away from that side of things. This is about helping other people play the game as well and giving that choice. And like I said, well, the reactions I've seen to it so far have been incredibly good.
And I think as well, I think there are some people that I'll mention it in the chat as well. I think it's really about bringing that accessibility and just like the choice. I think is going to be really fun. Again, I'm super excited about it. But we've still got some more features to talk about. So it's a really exciting one. Beginner controls is going to be great. Whether or not you want to dive into it or not, it's also just something fun to try as well. But again, we have more in FAQs. If you're interested and you want to jump in, again, you can jump in with the free starter pack and pick up beginner controls, and it'll work across all your content, which is great. Right, there are a couple questions about what's in the new training center. We'll get to that. We've got to talk about all the other features. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna now list a bunch of really cool stuff we've done, and I don't want to minimize it, but there is a lot of stuff here, and all of this is for the sake of quality of life, of making Train Sim 7 feel like this feels like it just hits all those points that you've been wanting and you've been asking for. And then Matt, I'll pass to you and just let you kind of touch on a few of them as we go through. So I'm going to throw up the image again. Here are some of the changes that are coming with the game. For one, there'll be a global safety systems toggle. And there's a really brilliant image of the UI that I'm not 100% sure if I have loaded on. But essentially, you have the option to toggle on safety systems when you jump into a cab by default, and it will stay toggled. So you never have to do it and set it up at the start of every run. You can just choose which ones you want on. And it's not just a one-off, one-on button. You can specifically toggle each of the individual safety systems across UK, US, German regions, all of the different ones that you want to have on. So you can choose what you want and be extremely flexible with how you want to play. AI conductors. Now, we're not using a scary term of AI, it's just automatic. But when enabled, essentially the game will run and take care of all the door opening operations. So if you're a driver and it would never be your job to handle opening doors on a certain train or certain locomotive, well, then you can turn this on and it'll be as true to life. But again, it's very much whether you want it on or not, and it's as easy as having a toggle. Other quality of life, so an adjustable field of view. So for some people, having a better FOV allows you to see more of your surroundings, reduce a bit of motion sickness as well. It's just nice to have. I think the way people play is very different, so I think this is something that's also been requested for a long time. Another nice quality of life, improved loading times. Now, this is a really great one because for those of you that also have a ton of content and back catalog add-ons, sometimes loading into the game can take maybe a couple minutes when you get into the main menu as you're kind of onboarding and kind of adding on all those content. We're going to see that cut down massively. You're going to be getting in and out of the game much quicker. Now, another thing we've done is we've changed the max speed of the external camera. I have had a lot of questions on this over the last year in Q&As, and we've finally done it. So you can move that external camera, you can chase up with your high-speed trains, and you can get a really lovely shot and images and videos from the trains as you drive, which is wonderful. We've also improved temporary speed restrictions. They're going to be more random. They're going to be less predictable. They're going to have different speeds on them, which I know people have been asking for a long time. A couple other things as well. We've added a bell button to the Operation Shift controller layout. So that means if you're playing on a US train, you can toggle the bell, which we didn't have before, and it's a nice quality of life. And we've also made a few dynamic weather improvements, including the improving the transitions between weathers. So it's a bit smoother now. It's a bit more realistic. We've improved rain effects, and there's a bit more variety and realism in it. So, well, as the list, I mean, I think, to be honest, I think the graphic I've got on screen doesn't even have all of that. There's a lot of good stuff there. I think, Matt, is there anything you want to specifically touch on in that big old list of waffle?
Improved load times, probably more impacts console players. It does improve the load times on PC, but in the testing, we're finding consoles are the ones that are seeing more improvement. What else have we got on here? TSR updates. So previously it wasn't very random. So you'll find it more random and more appropriate in terms of the speeds that you get. AI Conductor is just so much fun. I play with that one all the time now. There's 3 settings: off, realistic, and always, because not all trains have it. In reality, sometimes it is driver-only operation. Always would mean it's always as if you've got a guard. Realistic tries to work on whether or not it should have a guard or not, but that will be only on new content going forwards, because you've got to actually set it to say whether that service will have a guard. Always means you can do it anyway. You want off if you don't want it, essentially. And one of the ones that I'm really happy about is the Steam Deck stuff. So that's tremendous with some of the graphics and improvements, and I'm seeing my frame rate up in the 40s to 50s on my Steam Deck, which is tremendous. Makes it so much more playable. So there's lots of cool stuff on there. The beta team are really, really, really thrilled with the FOB slider stuff that's gone in there as well. And I never thought about the default safety systems, how much of an impact that would make for me, because I quite enjoy turning it on when I get into the cab, but I use it all the time now. Yeah, you all were right and I was wrong. Fair enough. Props to you. It's brilliant. It saves, particularly on the console. You got a lot more fiddly to get to those controls, and I'll come back to that in a minute. And the way the team have implemented it, as Alex said, you've got individual control over every safety system. So there's a master on-off, and then inside that, there's then every safety system has its own on-off. So if you don't like C because it's annoying, and who doesn't think C is annoying, but you want PZB and you want LZB, you can set that up to be how the game works. So that works really, really well. But going back to the fiddly controls, we've made it to where there's a setting now to adjust the maximum speed, slow, medium, high, and fast, for movement of the camera and rotation of the camera. And then we've changed how the sensitivity slider works, so that it works much more like a sensitivity slider should, which now means that you could set it on. They reckon there's no sound.
Yeah, I'm just seeing those messages. I'm getting sound on my side, though.
Rotation of the sound is perfectly fine.
Reopen the stream. Hello. Close and reopen the stream. Sound will come back. Yeah, I don't think it ever dropped from restream. Apologies, folks. I'll put a message in the chat.
All right, well, let's carry on. But everyone, I guess, people need to. If you can't hear me, press and refresh on the stream, right?
No, they can't. There we go. Hopefully, if you can refresh, sound is fine. Okay, we're good. We're good to continue.
Let's carry on then. Yeah. So what I'm finding with the new settings is that I can have it on maximum speeds for rotation and for movement, which is quite a lot faster than the current ones. And obviously, the concern you'd have there is that just not going to make it even more twitchy compared to what it was before? Well, actually, the sensitivity adjustments you've got now mean that I can get absolutely pinpoint control with the joystick now, and also, go fast enough when I'm moving the camera so that I can get way ahead of a train doing 300 kilometers an hour. So it's brilliant. It's completely changed how I'm using the controller in the game. So I think that if you're using a controller, that's probably for me one of the biggest improvements that you'll see in TSW7.
And again, I'm really just loving the fact that I think all these things kind of layer on, and for some of them, for some people there may be small things, for others they're really big things, but they're just this kind of like that extra layering, that quality of life that really just makes it feel like, oh yeah, this is easier, or oh yeah, this is better, and hopefully that just kind of adds to that full experience, I think, for a lot of people. And I think there's been a lot of love for just seeing some of these like little extra improvements that we've been able to add. And again, props to the team, I think, for kind of just squeezing in as much as we could for adding this quality of life.
Absolutely.
One thing I did want to mention as well, I've got it on my image list here. A little sneak peek at the main menu UI. I think we've kind of shown this, kind of not shown it. So I've got a couple images here. For one, it looks very cool. It's very sleek, very rounded buttons, very kind of new color scheme as well integrated in. Don't say very Forza like we did it first. We didn't, but it's our own thing, okay? It looks wonderful. And so you get a little bit of sneak peek at there at the map and some of the timetable settings as well. So I hope you'll enjoy it because it is wonderful, and of course you'll be listening to the new music in game as well. So there's a little sneak peek. You'll find out more from videos and content coming up. It doesn't look exactly the same. The images are old, yes. This is from a testing account, so apologies if the images are old. Yes, work in progress. The stamp there in the bottom left. But hopefully the UI. I mean, if you miss the UI and you focus on the images, maybe look more at the UI. But there you go.
Just to be clear, the button images will be like that for release, but hopefully at some point post release they'll get updated to their new ones. It's taken us a while to get the UI as it correct as it is and refined. So we left updating images till last. So there's quite a lot of changes, just little changes all over UI in a lot of different places. Structurally, it's the same. So for those of you who have built up your muscle memory for how to do X, Y, and Z in the game, you are not going to find the game difficult to use or awkward or anything like that. It's structurally the same, but we've tidied up, tweaked, and improved visuals in a number of different areas. So yeah, hopefully get some updates to the images and freshen those up at some point in the future.
And we've talked about some of our features. We still haven't talked about all of them. But I'll be quick because I know people want to get into the roadmap. But let's not talk more about this. We've got some PC exclusive enhancements. There's a reason we did PC exclusive. It's because we've been falling a little bit behind on trying to keep up the support for some of the latest hardware that PCs can get access to. And I think people have been really begging for some extra settings and ways to push their systems to the max. For definitely the kind of mid and towards that higher end of kind of PC. Well, we're kind of treating you with a ton of new settings, and I love the way you always say it, Matt. It's the alphabet soup of various different enhancements. But there's a lot here, and I think we've already talked a little bit about the Steam Deck, but you're going to get DirectX 12, which is going to increase the compatibility with more modern graphics cards, and hopefully in some cases increase the performance. We've got DLSS 4.5 and FSR4. I heard a question, I think, our Q&A thread, which FSR are we using? It's 4, which allows you to do some upscaling. So it allows you to improve the visual clarity and some of the kind of edge lines you see on images, the anti-aliasing, if you will, for supported graphics cards. Again, that's an important note. So FAQs, always a handy friend to check on. And as again, potential room for some performance improvements in the GPU areas as well. Something we've not mentioned yet, epic settings, a level above ultra. And this is going to really give you that extra draw distance. I think people always talk about shadows. We talk about LOD, basically the way objects load in. Increase all of that to the absolute max, better color ranges, improved sky lighting intensity as well, and you're also going to get some enhanced lighting with light rays, God rays. Now, we do have some really wonderful images that show this. I haven't loaded them onto my stream, but they're on a roadmap, so take my word for it. But if you don't want to take my word for it, check out the roadmap, the article. It's linked in the description. But there's some really wonderful images on there as well. In fact, actually, if I hand over to you, Matt, to tell us more about these features, maybe I can load them up as well.
Yeah, so let's start with the alphabet soup. So DLSS for NVIDIA cards, FSR for everybody, but primarily it's an AMD thing. I'm not sure why you'd use FSR if you've got an NVIDIA card that will do the job. If you've got what these upscalers and enhancers do is they allow you to tune the performance to maybe get more FPS, or in some cases, one of the use cases I've actually found in the beta team is keeping the image quality the same, but massively reducing the GPU load, which saves power, keeps everything cooler, particularly with the hot weather we've been having. So it means that you can tune things to how you want to do. Any Gavana man asked if will DLSS have frame gen? No, unfortunately. So DLSS just has upscaling. The reason for that is that the plugin we're using is actually a UE5 plugin. Otherwise, we'd be stuck on a really old version of DLSS. This gives us DLSS 4.5, but that plugin actually requires quite a substantial amount of UE5 to be backported into UE4 in order to offer frame gen. So we weren't able to do that, but we did get enough of the bits and pieces of UE5 in to make the plugin work to do upscaling.
I'm just going to say as well, I've got a couple GIFs on screen. So I'll just kind of I'll let you keep talking, Matt, but I'll just have these on in the
Mhm.
background as well.
Yeah, so what you see with the difference, and this is a lot of this is enhanced light. This is enhanced lighting and epic settings, and this is pushing shadows right out. So the sort of the goal with epic settings. So what I will say is all of the ones below epic are exactly the same as they were before. So whatever performance you are currently getting on the game will be unaffected. Epic settings is if you want to push it a bit further, and Epic is actually set up on 5 or 6 different settings. So you may find that, for example, on your setup, you can maybe put the view distance quality to Epic, but maybe not the texture quality to Epic, something like that. So Epic isn't one thing; it's on across a number of different things. There's a level of tuning you can do. Yeah, it's adding the God rays that you can see. It's giving more shadows. It's adding more detail to the shadows, so they crisper up close. And you'll also find that shadows push out to the distance. LOD renderings get pushed out much further, so you don't see the trees popping in their LODs coming up to you. It stabilizes the whole scene. And then when you combine that with things like something like DLAA, for example, DLAA, which is the anti-aliasing part of DLSS, it's a bit of an alphabet soup, you have to bear with me. What that does is it's like a super duper TAA. So TAA is the normal anti-aliasing you're probably all using in the game. But TAA gives you ghosting, it leaves a little bit of flickering. And DLAA fixes all of that. There's no ghosting, there's no flickering, the whole image is super stable. So that's kind of like it in super duper quality mode on DLSS. And FSR has a thing called native AA, which is broadly equivalent to that. On FSR, you also get frame gen. Frame gen will double your frame rate every time. So the way it works is it generates a frame in between every other real frame. So all of this stuff is using AI tech. The DL and all this stuff stands for deep learning. So it's all using AI to try and to sort of to guess that stuff. FSR 4.0 is really high quality. It's much better than FSR 3 in terms of what it does. So very usable. In terms of improving your picture quality, but like moving up to say DLSS or FSR and then dropping the performance down to making it so that it's like maximum performance mode as opposed to maximum quality, you find that the image is still really good, but you should boost your frame rate. It all depends on how your system is. On mine, when I do that, I just lower the GPU usage because I'm not maxed out enough on those things. But hey, I'll take the lower GPU usage. That's a good thing as well. So it's those settings, and you combine all of those settings with what you've got in terms of the performance and improvements you get. A number of people have been using the X12 launch parameter for years and years and years. So we've basically made that the default and then done some bug fixing along with that. And some people were reporting when they did that, they got some decent FPS improvements just purely by switching to DX12. So there's quite a substantial improvement there. And we wanted to really, the sort of the brief for the Epic settings really was stretch and test people's hardware. Give them room to make a setup that maybe doesn't work yet. Give them room, a setup that will if everyone can use Epic settings, it's failed. It's not gone far enough. Push it further. And some of the beta testers are running it with everything turned on, enhanced lighting, Epic settings, and it's just the visual difference, as you saw with some of those comparative screenshots, is just mind-blowing in terms of how much it improves things. So I guess the next thing we should talk about is consoles. So Epic settings will not come to console. It's too much. The console can't cope with that. The enhanced lighting, I want to bring it to console. But we need to do a lot of testing on console, which includes how much which of all of the dozens of settings we've tweaked for enhanced lightings. Most of them have no performance impact, and they'll be fine to come across. Some of them do, and those probably can't. We are looking to bring an enhanced lighting to consoles, which should give most of what's come across there. Even some of the most visually impactful settings have almost no frame rate impact. It's really backwards to how you'd expect it to be. So we're going to need to do that. The other thing I want to check and test through this is also what impact these things have on the texture pool, because sometimes, particularly with some of the shadow changes, they can what you do effectively. All performance settings are a trade-off. You normally you will spend memory to save to improve frame rate or vice versa. And the so I want to make sure that we're not making the texture pull problem worse with any of these settings as well. So that's why it's not in there. We need to take some more time to do that, but that is definitely something I want to do. VXY and a couple of others of us can use DLSS with smooth motion. You absolutely can. Some of the beta testers have been doing that. And what their recommendation is, I've not tried this myself because I've not really used smooth motion yet, but their recommendation has been to set your internal game frame rate limit to 30 frames per second. To wind up everything to absolute maximum and then enable smooth motion so that you get 60 FPS output with everything set to the minute to the absolute maximum and your GPU running relatively cool. And so I will say for running everything on the tops, you're probably looking at relatively high-end GPU to be able to support everything. But it's the end result for all that stuff is fabulous. So yeah, there's variability and so forth that you can see what works for you and see what doesn't, turn things on, turn things off, so you can explore it. And some people, in my laptop, for example, can't run everything on Epic. It runs most things on Epic and with enhanced lighting. And then you can use smooth motion or the FSR frame gen to bump it up. On Steam Deck, I use the frame gen because Steam Deck actually and Steam Machine are all obviously AMD hardware. So you can use FSR and you get to a really great effect. Actually, Generic BR fanboy, is there a way to still force the game to run DX11? Yeah, in the settings, there's a switch now that you can switch it between DX11 and DX12. It will default to 12, but if you want 11, then you can switch it back. I think
it's all good. It's all good. I think it's really important context, and there were a lot of people asking about like what kind of affects console and what will be on PC. And I think that like there's important reasoning there as well. So we want to obviously ensure that the console experience is still good and it still works with these settings. But the lighting, again, as Matt says, we are looking to try and bring that to console as well. But to be really clear, just to bring up the features page again. This is the main menu. For players across PC or console, you will get almost all of these features as well. The only limit is just on some of those enhanced lighting and on those extra epic settings as well. That's on PC for the time being, but everything else you will get on all the platforms coming with Train to Mod 7. Right, folks, you have been asking, you have been saying now. Come on, we've got to talk about the roadmap. We're almost finished with Train to Mod 7. I just want to quickly rattle through the bundles. So, someone asked about what's new in Training Center. There's new collectibles, there's new scenarios. But remember, Train to Mod 7 is free. We're going to start with the free edition. You can just pick it up and you will get it. Obviously, you're going to have to re-download your content. I know that's a really big pain for some people, and I think some people on slower internet, so that's really tough. You're going to have to do it. We still haven't found a way around that, but it is still free. And we allow you to get a lot of these new features and pick up the game and get all of this new stuff, including new features, including live weather, including the ability to add your locos and anything you own using the Freight Hauler mode. If you pick up any of the standard editions as well, you get a lot of great stuff and a lot of the compatibility with the new features and the settings just for having a free edition. So there's tons there, and you can pick this up from September 15th. And better yet, we're not putting a deadline on this. It's just going to be free until we say anything, if we say anything at all. I think last year we did, I think it was 6 weeks. But this year we're going a bit longer. We just want to see, obviously we've got to make sure it works for our teams as well. But hopefully we can keep the game free and get as many people playing as we can. So if you do want to pick up some of the exciting new content now, Standard Edition, you're going to get a really great offer here. So you get Tri-Rail Miami, Nuremberg, Würzburg, and the Airedale and Wharfdale network. Of course, all the features, you get access to all of that, including Freight Hauler and for all of those routes. And if you pre-order now, which you can do, you can get a 10% discount on top. So you can check out the prices. I think it's £44.99, $49.99 and euros. But again, you can save 10% on top of that, and you're already kind of getting a massive discount on top with all the content included as well. Deluxe Edition adds the 3 Deluxe locos, the Tri-Rail GP49, the IC4, as well as the BR Class 333 for each of the respective routes above. And you get 5-day early access from September 10th. So that's also really great. And of course, you still get that 10% pre-order discount. Finally, Ultimate Edition. Some people have been asking what this is. Really, it's called Train Sim World 6-7 Edition. I don't want to see the spam chat too much in chat. I know, I had to say it. It's essentially Train Sim World 7 Deluxe with Train Sim World 6 Deluxe on top. And I think some people are asking, why have we done like that? Well, there's a lot of people that haven't picked up the Train Sim World 6 Deluxe content, and we want to make sure that you get a great bundle as well. Also, if you're starting out in Train Sim World for the first time, you can pick it up and also get a ton of content, and a lot of it really just complements each other too. So that's the Ultimate Edition. Again, it comes at a huge discount for the whole bundle. So you can check that out on the local store pages and save another 10% if you pre-order. So that's all available right now. How long can you pre-order for? Until September 15th, because by that point you're not pre-ordering because the game's out and it's all launched. And yes, before anyone asks, you can buy all of the routes and the locos from the Deluxe Edition separately from launch. So that'll be September 15th. You can buy them separately, but I will just note that they will be at the standard price. So you will get the best offer with the bundles. So if any of this interests you, check it out on the store pages. I've ruined the chat. I see it's 6-7 all over the place. I'm sorry for what I've done. Folks, we're now going to talk about the roadmap, but one last thing. Which way is my finger pointing? This way. That button there. Scan at any point while we're streaming and you will go to the Train Sim World 7 website and you can pre-order again and get that 10% discount. I think we've talked enough about the base game of Train Sim World 7, but we have a roadmap. We have a year or more worth of content. There's some content on here that is very early in development and progressing really well. So we have some awesome things to tell you about. And the way this is going to work is we're going to go through all of the new content, kind of the same order we did through the Direct. We're going to give you a bit of a summary about it. We're going to share some of the wonderful screenshots about it. And then we'll kind of jump between them because there's a lot of things to cover. There's some wonderful new screenshots that we shared for the first time today in the roadmap. And there's a lot of things that I think people are extremely excited about for in this. So here we go. Matt, I'll call to you for a couple quips here and there, but we are gonna work our way through what is the first Train Sim World 7 roadmap for the months and years ahead. We're gonna start with a very familiar sight. It's the Tadami line. Folks, we know you have been asking for this and waiting for this for a long time. It is coming. It is going to be released in 1 month's time. And I know we previously had a release date, but we had to delay that because we wanted to further make sure the experience was great. It is now coming in Train Sim World 7, and in Train Sim World 7 only, which is an important note. We do have the store page live now for wishlisting on Steam. You may notice the Train Sim World 6 one is still up, but we are going to have that legacy page removed. But it is arriving on September 29th. That is 2 weeks after the launch of Train Sim World 7, and it does mean it benefits from a lot of the features in Train Sim World 7 from the get-go, including some of the information we talked about. Not all of the features, but obviously some of the things we talked about when it comes to features that will apply across your whole collection. But this is the Tadami line. This is the first time you're going to get to go to Japan with Train Sim World. You're going to ride along the Tadami River. It's extremely charming. It's extremely magnificent with the scenery. You also have wonderful seasonal changes, and it's just a beautiful experience. And you're looking at the Kiha 40 here, the loco, and you get that in a variety of different liveries relevant. But you all know this. You've all been following Tadami for some time, folks. We know it's coming. It's coming very soon, but it will be a wonderful release. And again, it's coming just 2 weeks after launch. So basically, once we've launched Train Sim World 7, you're going to wait a week, and then we're going to see Matt here again on a live stream doing a preview for the route, and you're going to get a chance to really see it in action. So Matt, is there anything you want to touch on with Tadami line?
Nothing more than has already been said, to be honest. Sorry, I've got a cat lifting my chair. I think it's because she's hungry for some reason. I've only fed her 15 times today. It's fine. Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, as I've said everything. I think it's a beautiful route, and actually, it looks even more stunning with the new settings. So it'll be just here cheering away, ready for it to come out. I think it's in a good place now, it's the team have worked really hard. They got through those performance problems that we identified really quickly. So in good shape now to get in everyone's hands.
And for this is coming from the Union Workshop team. And again, I want to make sure we really support them through this because this is going to be a wonderful release. Folks, September 29th. If you're on Steam, you can wishlist it now. The website is up. You can find it. And again, it will come for Train Sim World 7. Right. That's enough of the Tadami line. What else is there on our roadmap? Necatal Bar. Now this This is a route that I know many of you are extremely keen about, and some of the screenshots that are rolling in the background might eventually kind of give off a reason why. But this is coming from TSG, and this is Neckarbahn Heidelberg to Neckarholz. This is a double track, fully electrified mainline. You're going to go through the Neckar Valley in southwestern Germany. There's loads of really wonderful smooth curves. There's loads of tunnel sections. There's wonderful riverside views. And best of all, it comes with a new steam loco, the BR23. And on top of that, TSG are improving some of the steam physics from some of our previous steam content to work with this release. Folks, this is coming soon. We don't have a release date yet, but this isn't too far away now. And as a note here, there's the BR23 looking absolutely gorgeous. And again, I think there's been a lot of people that have been asking for more steam locos. Well, this is the next one that you can likely expect to see in Train Sim World. On top of this, the actual route itself, though, you'll get 53 kilometers of track from Heidelberg to Neckarholz. You'll get 15 decorated stations to explore. And if you're wondering about the era, it's set in 1974. So yeah, new Steam logo, exactly. I think there's been so many people saying, when are we going to get the new Steam logo? We announced this a little while ago. It is coming. So be excited. It's going to be an absolute wonderful route, and huge props to TSG because this is going to be a very special moment when it releases. We don't have a release date yet, but again, follow our roadmaps, follow our monthly updates for more. Okay, I'm going to jump over to a fan favorite. We're looking at Jest Trains. We're going back to the UK. This is the next release they've been working on again for some time. Now, they have a wonderful blog that you can follow on their own website. But this is Cumbrian Coast, Carlisle to Whitehaven. Now, again, if you're a fan of the 1980s era, well, you're in luck because the Jest Trains for the UK side of things are pretty much experts at this point. And they've got a very keen specialism for doing this era and doing it very well with a high quality that you all have come to love. So you're going to be getting more Jest Trains content on the West Coast mainline network with the Cumbrian Coast. You're going to get 40 miles of rural scenery and sprawling industry landscape. And it's just beautiful. And what we're seeing here, the train is the new Class 108 DMU with new wagons suited to the era included with the release, as well as freight and shunting operations that they have planned. But these are some new screenshots that we're sharing, so they're absolutely gorgeous. And again, some DMU hype in the chat, Matt, you're sharing that. This should be a really wonderful release. Have you got any thoughts, Matt, that you want to add?
I'm looking forward to it. It's another Just Trains route. It's another winner. And the 108. It's a whole brand new first gen DMU, and they're some of my favorite trains to drive. So I'm here cheering for Just Trains in this release, definitely.
Well, speaking about cheering, let's make sure we cheer and support a new dev coming to Train Sim World that we announced a little while ago with Ryan Niersbahn. This is from Foller's World. So they've been working on this and they've been sharing updates for a good deal of time now. This is a beautiful route. This is going to be quite an iconic and quite an old route with over 100 years old. You've got large stations, huge cities. And I think the thing they really want to highlight here is the contrast between open fields, but also then that industry and that freight operation, especially in and around the Chem Park area of the route, especially, and again, I'm going to apologize in advance here for the pronunciations, but you've got the historic Hochfelder Eisenbahnbrücke. I think I pronounced that better on the direct.
That was good.
Okay. I'll take a good from you, Matt. That's appreciated. But it's a wonderful industrial branch lines are included, as well as detailed yards and a freight bypass between Reit and Viersen. This is going to be a really fun route. And again, a new developer coming to the scene with a really strong starting piece of content, and just the screenshots make it look extremely good. I really hope you enjoy this as well. And as you're seeing some sites here, some of the DBBR trains, it should just really add in that gameplay. And again, if we're focusing on freight hauler as well, should be quite an experience. Anything you want to add on this one, Matt?
No, another German route I'm looking forward to, and I will take all of them that I can get. So, and just looking at these screenshots, it looks stunning.
Well, let's talk about another new developer that came into the scene, but they shouldn't be unfamiliar to you. It's Virtua Via 360 with Train Sim World's first Portuguese route. This is coming along very well. So if you've never heard about this, we are going to Portugal. This is a Verticus licensed route, and it's going to be dense and busy as you go into Lisbon. You're going to be across the Tagus on the the 25 de Abril Bridge. Sorry, I just read it's 25 there. It's a bit English of me. And then you're going into a very different landscape as you go south of the river and eventually reaching Setúbal. And we've got some wonderful images, and we've been sharing some wonderful images and progress from the team over the last year. But one thing I just want to say for everyone here as well, watching the roadmap, we recently had a chance to bring these devs into our offices. And they are so passionate. They are really wonderful people that really truly just want to deliver the best they can. And they do a lot of this work on top of other day jobs. This is like their hobby on top. It's their passion that drives them forward. And it's quite a big team. And one of the best things is they've been working with Verticus as well. And they were just saying how they were getting into the sheds with the trains, and they were able to get really good access to the models for reference images, for sounds, just to really give you that experience. I think again, when you bring a new country into Train Sim World, you've not really got anything you can compare it to, because you're building some of the most high quality simulation for a new country that comes with new safety systems, new environments, new scenery. But they're doing a really great job, and they're really great people. And I'm so lucky to have met some of the team, and we've been talking a little bit about some fun things on the side. I'm not going to say it on stream because it will make the chat go crazy, but we've been talking about some fun things that Matt, we've been in emails, conversations about. So we'll come to that later down the line. But can I just say, the Virtual Via 360 devs, pleasure to meet you when you were in offices, and I'm so excited about this release.
It's fantastic, and yeah, it was really good to meet the team. They talked us through some of the stuff they've done. The safety system that's on the train is interesting. It's going to be quite fun to learn that. While they were over here, we actually took the opportunity to get the build cut on Xbox and give an Xbox build a try, because they hadn't had a chance to try that at this point. And they've been very, very conscious, and they're focused on performance side of it, but you never really know until you try these things. They're ramped so well, and that's amazing for a first build on console. So it's full credit to the team. They're putting a lot of work into not just the depth, but also the technical detail side of it as well. So big shout out for that. This should be really interesting.
And DJ Lima in chat, don't say it too loudly, otherwise everyone will catch on. But it's a really exciting route, and I would say check out our roadmap article. Again, the article has much more information, and we're going to be able to speak to you today on the stream. But there's an in-depth interview with their team, and they talk about how they've been building the assets. And again, like the bridge you're going to be going on as you go into Lisbon is about 60 meters up. And when you're going 60 meters up into a city as busy as Lisbon, there are so many buildings, so many objects. I think they said something near 250,000 different assets they're trying to load. They're trying to balance the performance. So that's definitely a challenge, but they want to make it as detailed as they can. So they're willing to attempt the challenge and bring you just something that feels truly authentic. But that's enough from Portugal. So if you're excited, again, check it out on our roadmap. But we're going to head over to the US. This should be a familiar sight, but with some brand new images from the Southern Pacific Airlines Hayden branch from High Iron Simulations. If you love freight, if you love getting super down with the awesome heavy hauling locos you get across the US, then get ready, because this is a true tough railroading, desert, western scenery, open pit copper mines, smelters. This is going to be fun. This is tough. This is gritty. You're going to get grades of up to 2%, and you get track speeds of up to 30 miles an hour, but you're going to get 20 miles of route between Ray and Hayden with the Southern Pacific Electromotive GP35 diesel road switcher, as well as the Southern Pacific C30-4 bay window steel caboose as well. So you get a lot of awesome stock, and this is just going to be fun. I mean, again, you're moving copper ore to the smelters, copper ore out. It's a real true heart of the railroad, and I want to give a shout out to Gary from High End Simulations. In some of our past roadmaps, we've talked a little bit about the inspiration and the research they've done on this part of the track to really bring it to life. And I want to give a huge credit, and I would recommend anyone who's interested in this release to get into some of those old articles that we've written now and explore it, because there's a lot of research, there's a lot of authenticity, there's a lot of love and passion they've done to recreating this and making it really feel like a great experience. And again, Train Sim World 7 layering on that extra element of freight, this should be really fun. Is there anything you want to add on this one, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it in the past. I'm definitely excited for this one. I love what Hyann are doing. It's their first route, and they've done really well on their first 2 packs. So it's I'm excited to see where this one goes, and it's kind of gameplay that I quite like generally. So And just look at the visuals, how stunning is that?
Okay, and we're gonna keep going because we've still got so much more to come. Let's talk about something that I know a lot of you were giving us questions about, and I want to shout out to Dan from All Aboard Studios here. So if you're a fan of All Aboard Studios and they've had some wonderful releases for UK fans, then you're gonna like this because this is the Freightliner Class 70 and the Wascosa MLA wagon from their team, and this is more UK freight hauling power, and this is gonna be fun. I mean, we joke about the Class 66, but it's time for the 70s reign, and it looks amazing. Can I give a props to the screenshots that you've sent us as well from All Aboard, because these look great. But they're close to the finish line. They're working really hard on this, so we haven't given a release date for it yet. But for everyone who's been asking over the last couple of days, where's the Class 70? It's coming. It's in development and it's coming fast. So get ready, because this is going to have a really wonderful level of detail. You get a fully operational cab, interactive displays, interactive systems. You get a fully authentic startup procedure, and basically almost every switch, lever, and control has been brought to life. And that really feels like a strong motto from their team to really add that level of detail. And the best thing yet, they've also confirmed that the Class 70 will be supported in the Airedale and Wharfdale lines timetable from release, which is even better. So again, we haven't confirmed the release date yet, but when it does come out, it will have that extra support for the Airedale network, but also it will add in some timetable services to the Midland Main Line, to the West Coast Main Line services as well, to the Mildmay Line extension, which will come up and we'll talk about next, to Thames Valley branches, and of course, Birmingham to Shrewsbury. Again, we'll talk about that in a moment. But you've got so many timetables this layers on, and again, I think it's a really strong motto from Dan from All Aboard to get this into as much UK content as possible. So this is really hype for everyone asking, when is it coming? I can't give you a date, but it is coming soon. So get ready, because this is really awesome. And of course, we've added it to the roadmap graphics. So I think that was missing before, but it's there now. Now, I'm going to switch back to the camper a moment for this. I've got a very special shout out to give to Johannes from Incredible Trains. I hope you can see that. He gave me a t-shirt. I had a chance to meet him in office and he made some t-shirts. Shout out Johannes. I wanted to wear the Train 217 one, of course, for today, but I also wanted to kind of double up and bring this on. So I'll kind of give you a shout out because this is a very comfy t-shirt as well. I've already worn it and washed it once. Of course, we've got to talk about the Mildmay Line extension, and I've got to find where it is on my list of the various tabs in my outliner. It was below the 70. Here we go. So we've only got a couple images, but this, if you haven't heard about it, the Mildmay Line, I mean, what an absolute route. This was Johannes is a solo developer when he came into the scene with Train Some World, and we talked a lot about that, and that was a wonderful journey, and there was loads of interviews with Johannes. Absolutely incredible, super passionate developer, really wants to layer in the detail, and he was living in and around London and taking in a lot of that reference. And so we had a wonderful release of the Mildmay Line, and it's one of my favorite routes. I even did a time-lapse video with the delivery on the side. Anyway, that released, what wonderful stuff that was, except he wanted to do more. He didn't want to leave it there. So he is committed, and he is coming fast with a free update to the Mildmay Line that adds an extension to Richmond. And he's also laid in brand new optimization work, an additional livery for the included Class 350 in the Southwest Trains livery, and that will represent the Class 450 to do AI services around Richmond. Not only that, but he's also added an extremely cool feature that we featured on one of our last roadmaps, so be sure to check that out, of in-cab working CCTV screens that's enabled through the expert settings menu. Just going extremely far, going above and beyond to bring you new things that you've never seen before in Train Sim World. So he's saying the progress is coming along extremely well. Again, we don't have a release date for this yet, but just know that Johannes is working really hard on this. It is still coming. There are still progress to be had. And again, I think for everyone asking, don't worry. It's not been forgotten about. It's on the roadmap graphic. And again, huge props to Johannes, because I know from meeting you in person, I know how passionate you are. And I really hope everyone loves it when it comes out. So show Johannes some love. And again, he's working really hard on it. And we'll give you a date as soon as we can. Matt, do you want to add anything?
I mean, this has always been a favourite route of mine in Train Sim Classic, and it's I'm really happy it's being extended to the end. I know Johannes knocked it out of the park. His Thames branches route is just fabulous, and he's brought all that attention to detail to this route. You got the power changeover now on the route, and this finishes the line. So I think it's what everybody's been asking for, and Johannes has, like I said, he's knocked it out of the park. He's done a fabulous job with it. So I'm super excited for that one to be coming out. And as you say, it's not far off now.
And again, Liam's buddy in the chat, will it be free for people who already own the route, but even in past editions? Yes, as long as you can get your entitlement across to the latest edition or whatever edition you're playing in. The extension will be released in Train Towards 7, but as long as you can carry the entitlement across, then yes, it will be a free update. It's a free update that it's been working really hard on. Again, we're going to show some Johannes some serious love here, so absolute props, and we'll keep you updated when there is some more news to share on the release date. But just hold tight, it's coming. So we've covered off. I'll show this image on screen. We've covered off a lot of the stuff that's coming post-release. We talked about that a little bit before. We've obviously talked a little bit about the Class 70 and the Mob Mainline extension just now. What's next? Well, we had a wonderful Take a Ticket show, and we hope you loved it. There were some real big highlights in this. And again, these are coming from a mixture of some of our team as well as also some of the most favorite and wonderful third-party developers, as well as some brand new developers on the scene as well. So we're going to dive into these, but we hope you enjoyed the Take a Ticket section. So we do have some screenshots. We're going to start with Birmingham to Shrewsbury. Now, we've already talked a little bit about All Aboard Studios, but we're going to come back to them with a brand new route. And this is something that I'm extremely passionate about. Again, it's got a wonderful section in the roadmap. I'm going to keep calling it out because I can't always do it justice from just my voice. But this is a 42-mile route between Birmingham, New Street, and Shrewsbury. I mean, can I just say I lived in Birmingham for a little bit, so I'm also extremely passionate about seeing some of this recreated in real life. But you're going to get notable landmarks like RAF Cosford or Shrewsbury Castle. There's a wonderful photo coming up in just a moment, as well as the Shifnal Viaduct. You're going to be able to explore Shrewsbury. You're going to get a complex junction station with runaround and shunting movements, as well as regional, local, and freight traffic. And then you also, with the loco on the route, you'll get the Transport for Wales Class 158 DMU across 9 stations from Wolverhampton, Shrewsbury, including Cosford and Telford Central. Again, I hope you're enjoying these wonderful images. And one thing I really want to highlight from, again, from Dan from All Aboard Studios, so shout out to you. But when I was speaking to him in person just recently in our offices, he's extremely passionate about bringing a higher level of detail to the scenery, to the environment, to the immersion. And he's also been speaking really closely with people like Johannes, for example. And I know Johannes has been able to bring that with some of his work too. And they're really focusing on that. So this is a 42-mile route, but you can expect the scenery to really be quite stunning and quite something to look forward to. So especially New Street. I mean, we've got a little bit of a teaser there, but I'm extremely passionate about seeing how this comes along in the next few months. And we'll keep you updated.
It's also worth, just before we move on, it's also worth noting it's a brand new one, but it's not from a different developer. They've made their own.
A brand new class, a brand new tier Transport for Wales Class 158. There is a lot of detail in here. I mean, I think we've got a couple images coming up we've got a little shot of it here, but we've got a closer image as well. I just kind of skipped past. We've got a little bit of a shot of the internal as well. But I think just the focus here from All Aboard really is on the detail. Make it feel like it's something that everywhere you look has got that high level of fidelity that you want. But there you go. That's Birmingham Shrewsbury. I hope you're excited. But there was another UK route. There were quite a few UK routes, but I want to focus on something from a brand new developer. And again, I'm going to call it out. You're gonna get a little bit sick of me, but there's an interview with their team on the roadmap. Really recommend you check it out because you really get a sense of what they're here to do, what they want to bring to Train Sim World. But what are they bringing? Well, it's the Atlantic Coast Parton Newquay route. So this is a Cornish route. You're going to go coast to coast. You're going to get GWR passenger services. You're going to get 20 miles and 7 new stations between Par and Newquay. You're going to get the GWR Class 150, as well as a new JIA China clay wagon. And you're also going to be enjoying the Fowley branch line between Loftwithel and Fowley Harbour for layered freight gameplay as well. And we've got some wonderful...
I've got to correct you there. Sorry, it's Foy.
Foy, yeah. Sorry, yeah, okay, Foy. I think Newquay threw me off when I first announced this as well. I think I was reading it as like New K or something. I apologize. Some of the wording in the UK is harder than it is in Germany. Okay, the Foy branch line. But this is going to be really exciting. And folks, can I just say, this is a brand new developer from Brass Can Games. So I really want you to try and show them some love. They've got new socials. They're going to be talking about the development. And again, I would just try and connect with the team. If this is something that excites you, learn about why they wanted to bring this and really find that out, because it is a wonderful new route. And we've got some brilliant work in progress screenshots to show. And I think it was quite an exciting release. And again, we get to go to a part of the UK that we don't often explore in Train Sim World. So I'm really excited. Speaking of excited, who likes Railjets? I think there was
I
quite a
don't
few
think
people.
anyone's interested in railjets, to be perfectly honest. Like,
We'll
I'm
just
not seeing
move on.
anybody asking for it.
We don't have any screenshots to show. I apologize. I know a lot of you are begging for it, but we do get to announce it. It's from TSG. It's an expert level project, and I know a lot of you. I'm hoping a lot of you are excited by that. But if you don't know what that means, essentially it's TSG's third expert project where they bring the capabilities of the simulation to the absolute limit, to the absolute maximum, and give every possible aspect of detail, including real faults, including just random extra levels of simulation you wouldn't even think. Is there smoke on the screen if you've got all the doors closed and it's hot inside and it's cold outside? You've got such a high level of simulation. When you play this, it should just feel great. And it's similar in scope to the Expert 101 and the Expert BR 145. And what we can say is that you're going to be able to travel along Vorarlberg, Semmeringbahn, as well as Rosenheim, Salzburg to Rosenheim, with the Taurus and Generation 1 train sets with the OBB Railjet. And included will also feature the UBB Class 1116, as well as the first and second class coaches and bistro wagon. This is exciting. I know a lot of you are very keen on the Railjet. Some of you even seem just as keen for the Railjet as you did for the IC4. So this
It
is
is
this is
that,
exciting.
it has probably been asked for even longer than the IC4, to be honest. Particularly since we did the first Austrian route a while ago. I think that was when it started becoming a popular request. So I have seen some screenshots of it, and I know the team are knocking it out of the park, as you would expect them to do all the time. There are some really beautiful screenshots, and I think as soon as they've been through the relevant approvals, it'd be good to get those out to people. But yeah, so more info will be forthcoming, and the team have been working super hard to get stuff to you sooner rather than later. So look forward to that. But it's however good you would expect TSG to be delivering something like the Railjet, that's what you should expect.
I mean, can I also just say it's got like one of the coolest train names like of all time, the
Yeah,
Railjet. I mean, it's got hype, folks. I've seen a screenshot as well. I've seen images. It looks great. We're gonna have to wait until next roadmap, but I promise when we get towards October, November, December time, you're gonna be seeing the first look at the Railjet. You're gonna be seeing a little bit of video. Just hold on a little bit longer, but just know that it's coming, and TSG are working hard on it, and they're gonna put it to the absolute maximum with the expert tier. So I'm glad we've seen a lot of hype for this, and make sure to show TSG a lot of love because, well, they definitely treat you right. I think for a lot of the Austrian and German content. Okay, well, what else are we doing? We still got more tickets. We've announced something from our own team, and again, we don't have any screenshots for this one just yet. But this is the NJ Transit Bergen line, which I've also seen a lot of love for from the US players as well. And this is a diesel-only scenic action-packed journey out of Hoboken. You're going to get the new GP40 PH2B diesel locomotive, as well as brand new Comet 5 stock with the Comet car and the Comet trailers. Matt, I know you've been working on this a little bit closer than I have than I've seen. Can you tell me a little bit about the Bergen line?
yeah. So the Bergen line, we were keen to do sort of looking at NJ Transit. We've done the line down to Trenton, which is mainline Northeast Corridor. We had the Out 45, Out 46, sorry, Out 46. Then we did the Morristown line where you got the Aero 3s and the Out 45 DPs. And it's all electric. And NJ Transit run diesel only lines as well. This is the Bergen line is one of those diesel only lines. It's quite a busy line. Runs from Hoboken up to Sutton, via Secaucus. And Yeah, it's interesting. So with the GP40, so it's another brand new. Even though a lot of American trains are called the same thing, but actually they are different models. They are built from scratch every single time because while they look similar, there's actually tons of detail and variation differences in them. So yeah, they've got the GP40 PH 2B being built for it, and then we've only ever done the double deckers, the multi-level cars, and NJ Transit. So this is a great opportunity to get single deck cars in with the cab cars and the Comet Fives. Again, I think it'd be quite a different experience, even though it's NJ Transit. It's not like any of the other NJ Transit routes at all. And you'll depart out of Hoboken, immediately turn north up to Secaucus, and then out into the countryside. By the time you're up to past the Wildwick, I think it is, sort of starts becoming, you're in the trees. So it's a really interesting line. And there was actually a really good workshop route done by somebody that I ran actually a long time ago on one of my streams. It's a good way to sort of experience it. Brilliant job of that route in Transient Classic. So I'm really looking forward to the Bergen line and what
For
it
Huxon
brings
in
for
chat,
variety.
yeah, for Huxon in chat as well, we'll bring you the screenshots soon. Obviously, we're still working on it. Again, when we're talking through some of the take a ticket content now, we're looking a little bit further beyond launch, into the kind of next year as well. But you'll be hearing more, and we'll be sharing more when we have it soon. So just stay tuned. There is one more that we don't have screenshots for that's also coming from us. And why don't we dive into it next? This is Amsterdam to Den Haag. Now, this is also a highly requested route. And hey, has anyone been asking for more Dutch content? Again, is there anyone in chat that wants this? Of course there is. I'm kidding, of course. We're going back to the Netherlands, folks. And this is coming from our team as well. Again, no screenshots are shared just yet, but there will be soon. But you're going to get a chance to visit the heart of Amsterdam through the historic city of Leiden until you reach the capital at Den Haag, or perhaps you branch down to the coastal town of Zandervoort through the Netherlands' iconic Tulip County. Yes. I think I said capital at Den Haag. I think political capital is a little bit better. But you're going to get an NSVIRM, I hope I'm saying that right, locomotive featuring double-decker passenger sets. Thank you as well for that, Matt. And if you own Zwolle Groningen, which was our first adventure into the Netherlands, you also get the SNG Sprinter EMU from that included. So you don't need to own it, but if you have played on the SNG Sprinter, you're going to get that with this as well. Folks, we're going back to the Netherlands. There's already hype in the chat. This is going to be exciting. And again, Matt, I'll probably ask how's the development coming along? How are you feeling about this route?
I mean, it's just starting on this one. It's coming along well. I remember when we were researching after the how well Zwolle went down. We were looking at. We knew that. Even when we did Zwolle, Amsterdam, I think out to Den Haag was kind of the other route we were looking at the time. So with how well the Zwolle Groningen route went, it was kind of like, well, we have to do this one now. So we started looking at this route. Just to be clear, there are multiple routes between Amsterdam and Den Haag. This is the one out via Haarlem, because that's the Haarlem is the big junction where you go west for Zandvoort and south to Den Haag. So it's but what's different about this compared to Zwolle is kind of a more countryside, high speed, and does a few stops out in the countryside. This is deep city stuff. This is much more city commuter type stuff. Obviously with Amsterdam there as well. So it's it's really interesting route. It's very different style of gameplay. And some people, I know some seen comments saying we should have the SLT. We'd love to. We need to. We've got the Verm is sort of the big new train we're doing for this one, and then we'll think about whether we know when and how the best time to bring the SLT is. But we could only bring one or the other in this time around, and I think the Verm has got a clock ticking on it, so we wanted to make sure we got that one all captured. And it's also the Verm has got such an iconic, long-standing look. So yeah, that's kind of the path we've chosen to go down that route, and I'm super excited for our next trip to the Netherlands.
And this is, I mean, again, I think this was one of the highlights from seeing the news from the direct. But yeah, folks, I hope you're really excited. Again, we will share screenshots when we have them. Again, it's a little early in development, but don't worry, we'll be sharing more, and it'll be coming across pretty quickly, I think. So stay tuned.
Sorry, Paul. The people asking about the Koplopper, it layers in. So if you've got Swallow, then the ICM Koplopper is playable on all this.
Perfect. We should have added that to the graphic, but there you go. Yeah, I'm excited about this. I mean, I can really just relate and get onto the hype wagon that everyone's sharing. But we've still got some more, and I'm really excited about this next one. We're going to go back to the UK for a bit of a remaster. Folks, I hope you've been asking for it. Well, I know you have been, actually. I'm lying. You've been asking for this. It's the #1 voted UK remaster on our surveys. It's the Northern Transpennine Remastered from a brand new developer, Pixel Punk Studios. Now, there's kind of a couple of things coming with this. Not only is it the Northern Transpanan Remastered, which is the UK route that you know and love, brought to the highest standards, a major scenery overhaul, towns and cities such as Dewsbury, Huddersfield, Batley have been rebuilt, lighting upgrades, think Todd 4, think new lighting. If you're on PC, think enhanced lighting. VR Heavy Freight Pack updated, rolling stop upgrades, the latest standards, suspension, weather effects, track shadow upgrades, trackside foliage, clutter, all updated. Even better, Pixel Punk are also working on a brand new Class 37-0 pack, which is perfectly timed because it's just come on screen, which is a separate add-on alongside the remaster with the intention to release and support it. It adds a new timetable that brings the Northern Transpanan route to life with plenty of passenger, empty stock, freight and engineering movements too. And you'll also get unique rail tours that utilize steam and diesel stock at different times of the year. And I think my next couple of slides show that we've also got a new VAA wagon, general purpose goods van with self-weighing capabilities. Also the OBA wagon, which is a drop side open wagon carrying a wide variety of loads, which is included in the pack that they're developing. Wow, what a way to jump onto the scene. I mean, you hit one of the most requested remasters of all time, and you bring in a new pack as well. This is gonna be fun, and I think a lot of people have been showing some love. There's a great interview on our roadmap with some of the folks from Pixel Punk, and some of them you may notice from around various community spaces. I'm thinking probably Jason, some members of the team. Take a look on the roadmap. We talk with a lot of them and they share a lot of the passion and kind of reasons behind why they wanted to focus on this. And I think Jason might even be in chat. So huge congrats for announcing this, Jason, and sharing some of the initial the images because they look great. And I mean, remasters always go well. Again, just to super clarify, again, it's a remaster, folks. So if you have the Northern Transpanan route, you will get the remaster as a free update. I mean, free stuff is always good, but make sure you also support the developers because if the Class 37 is your thing, then this will add even more to the route when it does come out. So this is exciting. I mean, Matt, you must have something to say about this. It's one of the most requested remasters of all time.
I mean, this has always been one of my favorites. This is one of the I'm trying to think. This was a really early route that we did, and I remember it was kind of like you know, I wanted to do Leeds Manchester, and we changed and adjusted the path a few times, and then settled on this particular line as being the best one to do. And then we went through all the development of it, and I just love it. I mean, this was the route where we really brought I think it was our first VR Blue route, so it had the 101. I was so hyped for the 101 coming in there, 45, the 40, the 08. This is where all the staples came into Train Sim World. So this route has got a really special place in my heart, and the fact that it's Pixel Punk, which I know are doing a fabulous job, are taking that route and showing this love, care, and attention to it, bringing it up to date. I am really looking forward to going back and seeing this in a modern guise. And that 37 is stunning. Really, really like that. The split head code has always been one of my favorite 37s, to be honest. Somehow it looks the split head code kind of looks a bit meaner, a bit sort of more powerful. I don't know. It's weird. It's just my head. There's something about it versus the sort of slightly smoother front that you get from the Domino. Yeah, looking at and those wagons, that's the first time I've seen those. They're looking absolutely business. So yeah, this is looking true. So well done, Pixel Punk. This is looking fabulous.
I absolutely love the support from the chat as well. Folks, make sure to support them. They're a new developer on the scene, of course, but they're a great, passionate team. And again, remasters are always brilliant because we get to bring the content that you've already played for years and years to the standards that you see in the newest Train Sim Worlds with the best features. So I'm extremely excited about this one. But yeah, make sure to share it. Again, we've got the interview on the roadmap. Check it out. Support the team. We've got one more take a ticket, and then we still have a couple more announcements. I've seen the Romanian flags in the chat. Don't worry, it's coming. Don't worry. But I want to talk about the final take a ticket that we had. This is obviously going to spark a lot of questions. I've already seen a lot of questions. We can't answer a lot of questions, but doesn't mean it's not exciting. East Coast Mainline South. It's London King's Cross. It's coming to Train Sim World, folks. From Alan Thompson Simulations, we are going to London King's Cross. In their East Coast Mainline South route, we have some very early work in progress screenshots from their team. It's a hugely ambitious project they're working on. They're working really hard to bring it to a detail that you all love. Folks, I know you've been asking about endpoints. We haven't shared that yet. There will be more details. You actually get a little chance to look at various route stops as well. I think we had a Finsbury Park picture somewhere. I think that's Peterborough Station, if I'm not mistaken, that we just saw on screen there. But yeah, we haven't announced a lot of information about that. I know there's been a lot of questions. But I think for now, we'll let the team just bask in the glory of their announce, and then we'll share it on more roadmaps as well. There's the Finsbury Park picture. But this is going to be fun. And again, I think London's King's Cross is definitely a busy and a hugely popular station to get into Train Sim World. Matt, you must have some thoughts on this as well.
I think it's King's Cross to Peterborough. It's I would have loved to have been able to tackle this one, but it's a difficult project. It's quite long, I think 70 miles or something like that, and there's a lot of stations on it. So when Alan Thompson said they were going to tackle it, I was really, really happy because I know they'll do a good job. Fun timetable, lots of variety of stock running up there, lots of variety there. Like, Flying Scotsman will be quite at home on this route. So there's lots you can do with it, and really fun gameplay as well. So yeah, super hyped for this one, and wishing Alan Thompson all the best. Screenshots, they're already looking superb. Yeah, brilliant.
Alrighty, we're going to keep moving on. So those are all of our tickets. We do have 10 minutes before the D-Day starts with the other showcase that we won't talk about. From the other 3 initial game that ends in a 6. I mean, come on, Train Sim World 6, surely, right? Anyway, we're going to talk about a couple more announcements that we also have on the roadmap. So if you haven't seen these, make sure you check them out. This is definitely the first time we're talking about the Class 387. Everyone, no one tell Liam that I may have said it on a roadmap one time. We don't remember that. This is the first announced. This is the GWR Class 387 locomotive from Grump Dog Games, fully announced today, brand new off the back of the direct, never before seen. We've got some new images to show you. And we don't have a lot beyond new images at this point, but you know Liam. Liam will share a ton of detail, and obviously he's incredibly passionate. He's obviously the developer and Grump Dog Games behind some of the work on your favorite GW Remaster and some brilliant other add-ons and content and developments in Train Sim World as well. Folks, this should be a wonderful loco. I'm very excited to announce it for the first time properly. You will get more detail on coming roadmaps, but can I just say these screenshots look practically realistic. I mean, I will admit that the engine is wonderful and we've been doing more and more work, but these are genuinely some of the screenshots that Liam takes that make me look at an image and genuinely question, am I looking at a photo? It's shocking the amount of work that he does, and I'm extremely excited for this one. I mean, Matt, you must be as well.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And I know that once we got GWR on board, we were able to take it to a level beyond what Liam was hoping he could do with this one. So this is kind of not just a green version of what the 387 has actually been able to push this one and do more with it, properly brand it up and so forth. So yeah, this is really good, and it's going to add that slightly more different feel to London Paddington, where you've got the you've now got the Electra Stars. So yeah, fabulous. Really looking forward to it.
And we'll be sharing more in the upcoming roadmaps. I think a couple of people were saying it's not a loco. Have I got it wrong? Is it an EMU? That might be my bad.
It's a unit, yeah.
It's an EMU. Apologies.
To be fair, generally what happens is that we always call things locos if they're locos and routes for the simplicity, folks. So because otherwise it gets very confusing, very easy to get it wrong versus a loco versus a train versus a unit versus different ways of describing different things. So that's why we use the word loco. And I know that for us enthusiasts, it sort of does make your eyes twitch a little bit. But it is to actually simplify the communication of it, so that it's a loco pack or a big pack. There is a reason for it.
Thank you, Red Leader, as well. You know what I mean. Okay, folks, we've got a couple more. We also finally announced a Northern 158, which definitely is news to everyone who is in the core community. This is a wonderful new loco from Skyhook Games. And again, we've got some initial screenshots here that we will be following up with some more detail from the team in the coming roadmaps. But it's another Northern loco. And before you jump to the point, Of course, Northern. Where's that coming from? Of course, we announced the class 331 and 333 in the Northern branded for the Airedale and Wharfdale network with Train 7, and this will only join them, complete the collection, add more to your Northern route and in your Northern content. And can I just say these initial screenshots look amazing? The Skyhook team have been doing really well. And again, I think the thing that we made it really clear is it will layer into the Airedale and Wharfdale network. So again, you'll get this alongside the 331, the 333. It'll really add to that kind of feeling. Colors and the livery is looking amazing so far. And again, huge props to Skyhook. Again, there's not tons to say just yet. There will be some more information, but I'm excited about this one. Again, Skyhook put a lot of love and passion into the details, which I'm excited to see. And Vinny Bonton, yeah, we're getting the 2 and 3 cars. I believe so. I don't have the eye for it because I've not been sent a ton of detail, but I'm hoping you're liking what you're seeing. And we have a couple more. There's a couple that we don't have images for. I'll end on the thing, the flags in the chat. I'll finish with that one. There's a couple we don't have images for, so I'll come to the cameras. But I would recommend checking out our roadmap. Are you interested in the class 466 and the CNS branch? Maybe, maybe not. Are you interested in Firefly simulations? Maybe, yes, definitely, you must be, right? Because Firefly simulations have exploded onto the scene with a wonderful release of the Medway Valley line. And that was absolutely brilliantly received, and their team is doing amazing work. Well, they're working on a new release. The Class 466 and CNS branch will be coming and adding extra to this content. So you get a 2-car derivative of the Class 465. It's going to be coming with the same level of detail as the Class 375 with interactive GSMR. The Class 466 will also provide 2010s experience for the Medway Valley Line too. And you're going to be able to operate on different patterns for the Medway Valley Line's route in the 2025 timetable, including Maidstone shuttles and services all the way to Tunbridge instead of terminating at Paddock Wood. Now, whilst it's primarily an add-on for the Medway Valley Line, the 466 is not alone because it comes with its own route and branch line with the CNS branch. And so in this, you'll get a late 2010s timetable that will feature the 466 on the branch with 2-car traffic all day long. And if you own Medway Valley Line, then CNS branch will get a further bonus with an extra 2025 era experience that utilizes the 375 from Medway Valley. So what an absolute treat. And again, the Firefly simulation team, huge props. They love their detail. They're extremely passionate about what they do. We've also spoken a lot with Jetwash from their team, who's helped us with a lot of the lighting improvements. And they're also known for kind of going above and beyond by adding extra features, such as rainbows, if you remember from Medway Valley Line. And again, the interactive GSMR. So this is exciting. We don't have any screenshots yet, but this is exciting. Sorry, man.
Actually, you mentioned Jetwash. Actually, I should have mentioned this earlier on, but for those of you that when we were talking about the enhanced lighting and the epic settings and so forth, there may be certainly some of you in the PC community that are familiar with Jetwash's enhanced lighting mod. Jetwash actually helped us. Did a lot of the work for setting up the enhanced lighting and epic settings in the game based on the enhanced lighting mod and so forth. So it's kind of like building that mod into the game to some extent. So yeah, huge thank you to Jetwash and to the rest of the Firefly team as well.
All right, folks, we have a couple more things. So there's one. Oh no, should we just wrap up there? No, of course. We got to talk about Romania. Folks, we announced Romania. There's a brand new country coming to Train Sim World from brand new developers as well, Railforge. I have seen a chat. I know you've been asking for some images of this. Here they are. We have some work in progress photos. And can I say work in progress can mean a variety of things. It can mean the start of development in the middle towards the end. It can mean a variety of things, but it's looking really good so far. So huge props to the Railforge team. They're bringing a brand new country to Train Sim World, which comes with a huge range of challenges and bringing new things in and adding authenticity and making sure you're doing it right. But it's got all of that. It's got a new country. It's got new signaling from Romania, new safety systems from Romania. You better spam that chat with the Romanian flag. There will be more information soon, folks. We've got an initial set of work in progress images, which we hope you love. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be exciting. This is going to be a little bit longer term. So that they're working development. It does look great so far, but we'll be keeping you updated in roadmaps. But it is just wonderful to keep adding more and more countries to Train Sim World. I mean, maybe we will hit the entire world one day. I mean, at the rate we're going, maybe we will. But Matt, you must have been excited when you announced this on the direct.
No, it's I'm excited for any new country that's added because it increases the variety I am a train fan who likes all trains. I just like the experience and learning new systems, learning how different railways operate around the world. So I'm super excited to start learning and understanding about everything that's going on here, and just looking at screenshots. It's going to be a visual treat.
And keep in mind, this is again the work in progress. It's early in development, but I know that the team are very keen to get out there and get talking about what they've been working on. And again, I think there's been someone in the community for the last few years that always pings me every 2 to 3 months. It says, "When Romania?" It's soon. I mean, it's finally been announced. So there's your answer. Okay, folks, there are a couple extra things as well on our roadmap. We weren't even done with all the new content, but we just don't have any screenshots or information yet, but they are still coming and are still important. One of them was the DBBR 212 Class V100 locomotive from TSG. That was extremely exciting to announce. We don't have any screenshots yet, but know that that is coming. And again, it's TSG, so you can expect a TSG level of quality with that as well. And of course, I want to give a shout out just so we cover the full roadmap, which I can actually put on screen as well. Again, it's getting to the point where you might even have to zoom in on this a little bit, but it's on screen. It's in the roadmap article if you want to look closer. But we also have the BNSF Snutnose SD40-2 from new developers, Atomovic Productions. That's still progressing along. We'll share some more on that when we have some more information. And of course, just like Herobrine, the DBBR 420 from TSG is still there. Folks, they are still working on it. It is a longer term project. They will share updates when they can. I know a lot of you are keen, and I know it did shift into the arriving soon category. Just know that the roadmaps can be a bit dynamic. We'll let you know when there's more information, but just know that it is still on the roadmap. It's still there, still hanging around. So that's the full roadmap. And breathe. I mean, I think we actually ended exactly at 8 from the roadmap. So we did an hour of Train Sim World 7. We did an hour of roadmap. I hope you're excited. I mean, there must have been almost 20 to 30 different add-ons and different projects we talked about between Train Sim World 7 and all the new content. It's what a wonderful time. Right, folks, we've hit the time. Not for the roadmap stream. We're going to still answer a few questions. There's obviously that other thing happening, but we're going to pretend like we're the most important thing in the universe, because if you're here, then we are, because you're here. We have some preview streams coming up. Now, this is the last thing we're going to be streaming this week, but starting next week, September 2nd, you're going to see the Miami Airport Boca Raton preview. September 3rd, the next day, you're going to be seeing Bahnstrecke Nuremberg Würzburg with the ICE4 on September 3rd next week. And then the week after, we're going to go to September 8th with the Airedale and Wharfdale Network preview and the Class 333. And then, if that's September 8th, well, what's next? September 10th is early access. And you're going to catch Matt here streaming a Let's Play on our channels, and you're going to see all the content. And we're going to be diving in with so much more after that, with simple controls, with some of the new freight hauler game modes, with wonderful content from our ambassadors. You're only days away from some of this coming out. And even better yet, even after launch, we've got more coming, because the Tadami line preview will only be a week or so after launch as well. So there's so much to look forward to. I would just say, if you've taken it all in tonight, but you don't know where to start, we have articles for this. We have FAQs for everything you need. Check out the Dovetail Live website. Check out the trainsimworld.com. Check out the links in the description for one, because it should all be there as well. Now, we also had a Q&A thread that we opened. We have a ton of questions submitted from you that you want to know from our team. So we're actually going to go through these for the next 20 to 30 minutes or so, and we'll do a little bit. We've been doing a little bit as we go live anyway, but these are people that wanted to ask us questions, so we've got them on the list. The only caveat I will say is that if you've asked us a question that has already been answered today in our roadmap, on our FAQs, we generally don't always pick out every question, because if they've already been answered somewhere, the general note is go find it. The information's out there. We're here to answer questions that maybe aren't as obvious or maybe aren't as clear, and help give you the best news we can and best information we can to make sure that you're excited as we are. So we're going to go through some questions. Folks, if you've been watching for the roadmap, that's the roadmap section done. But if you're still here for some questions and some interesting information, we're going to dive into it right now. So I think I've opened up my list, Matt. The first thing we wanted to talk about was consoles. And I think this was from JTM Diaz. Again, apologies if I pronounce any of these names wrong. There was a question here about PS5 Pro, and apparently something called PSSR, which could help performance. Have we looked into this? Is this a thing?
So PSSR is a thing for PlayStation Pro, PlayStation 5 Pro. It's not supported in TSW7. We are going to investigate it. and see what we can do. There's PSSR 2, in fact, just gone or going live on PS5 Pro at the moment. And there's also FSR 4.1, which is going to be coming to consoles over the next sort of 12 months or so. So we're keeping an eye on that space, working out what we can do, what's involved in it. Supporting PS5 Pro is actually the fairly big job. You'd think it'd be a lot simpler, it's not. And we need to cross that path before we can then start looking at PSSR. But definitely keen for that, because FSR 4.1 will be on both PlayStation, will be on standard consoles as well, if I understand it correctly. So it won't just be PlayStation 5 Pro, which is a relatively small audience compared to the others. So we will be, but yes, TLDR, yes, we are going to be looking into it. I don't know what that means, when that means. It won't be soon.
Good to know. Hopefully that answers your question there as well. But just as a follow-up, I think we did kind of note a little bit about console a bit earlier as well, and about the difference between some of the settings. We mentioned about the speeding up of the cameras. Is it worth touching on anything else we've done with consoles to really make that experience a bit better?
So yeah, I went through the joystick precision stuff, the sensitivity settings. Those are really going to transform if you're a controller user of any, whether on no matter what platform you're on. I'm finding it so much easier to use a controller now. It's probably the single biggest improvement, most important improvement for the console, to be honest. So that's really important. And yeah, so there's a bunch of stuff coming along those lines.
Good to know. Okay, so we've got a few here from EMATT. Starting with the Airedale question. So will the 801 be upgraded with some of the new features? I think specifically mentioned was guard mode and announcements.
I believe so, yes. I do need to just go and double check that with the team. I made a note and then I got sidetracked. So I'll double check. But yeah, if I remember rightly, when I've had it, it's when I played it recently, it certainly had announcements. I must admit, I've not tried guard mode on it yet, but it certainly had announcements. And these are LNER announcements as well. So sound awesome.
Oh, that's an extra note as well. Very nice. We talked about the NCP remaster as well. So another question from yourself. The 37 pack is an additional add-on, separate add-on. So again, you get the remaster completely free if you already own it. If you don't own it, perfect time to buy it. But then you also get the Class 37 pack, which comes with a ton of extra stuff, adds on to the NCP remaster, tons of value. And again, we'll be talking about that more in the upcoming roadmaps with the Pixelpunk team. And another one on East Coast Mainline South to King's Cross. Why are we being vague? It's more of a case of we agreed with the Alan Thompson simulation team themselves with what we were going to share in a direct. The team were extremely keen to want to get out there and announce their project. We know it's a super popular area to explore in the UK. Get King's Cross into Train Sim World, that's amazing. We're only being vague because there'll come a time where we want to share some more screenshots and some more detail, and we'll do that in the right kind of staggered approach. The team are working on it. It's a big project. They want to get it right. So, how we layer in when we share that information is important. So that's all it really is. But we know you're keen. You've seen some of the screenshots. You've seen Peterborough Station there. You've seen Finsbury Park as well, some of the information. We'll share more when it comes. But for now, healthy speculation, a little bit of support for their team will go a long way, I think. Phil West, you asked about regional editions. So this year we won't have specific regional editions. In the past, what we've done is we've had like Train Sim World, and it comes with the UK route and the UK Deluxe logo from launch. We don't have those this year. We saw a lot of confusion from players in the past, and I think regional editions kind of this weird bridge between, well, what standard is and what standard isn't. And I think because of that, we've not decided to do it this year, but it doesn't mean you don't get the benefits of regional editions. When it gets to launch, you can pick up the free starter edition completely for free, and then you can buy what you like. All the core routes, all the deluxe locos will be a separate add-ons that you can layer in, so you can pick up 2 random deluxe locos and 3 of the routes if you want. Or mix and match however you like. Just note how they work and what layers they have. So make sure that's all checked. You can do that on our FAQs. But yeah, you have the flexibility. The only note I will say is that the core bundles come with the best offers and the best discounts. I think generally speaking, most of the core bundles are kind of about that 55% value. So of 55% better value. And then you also get a 10% pre-order discount if you pre-order before September 15th. But again, if you want to wait longer than that, you can pick them at any time. And then again, if they go on sale at a future point, you can pick them up and lay them in. So hopefully that answers that. Right, we've got a question from Amity Blight, and I think this is one, Matt, you could probably help with. Although I think we talked about this a little bit before we came on stream. core features. I've got the features graphic somewhere in my OBS scene. Okay, so what are they gonna? Which core features here are gonna work on just Train Sim 17, and what are gonna work for everything you own? Think you've got compatible content from years back. What's gonna work on what?
So Freight Hauler works on TSW7 and newer. Simplified Controls works on everything. Live Weather works on everything. Default Safety Systems works on everything. Epic Settings, I think, works on everything. Graphics improvements to Enhanced Lighting, I think that's meant to be. Enhanced Lighting is TOD 4 only routes. The FOV slider, everything. TSR updates, everything. AI conductor, everything. But the AI conductor, as I mentioned earlier on, there is the always mode, works on everything. And then there is the realistic mode, which works on System 7 and where it'll be up to you how you want to do that. But you've got the choice then for how you want to do that. I think that's everything.
Yes, I think so. So generally speaking, pretty much everything. The only note is on Freight Hauler. Freight Hauler will work on Train Sim World 7 timetables and routes. So the timetables you get with the Train Sim World 7 routes. But of course, it's using free roam mode. So you have the option to kind of pull from any of your collection to kind of layer onto this. There's a little bit of a note in our FAQs about how that will work. But again, you're in free roam. If you end up messing with the timetable too much, and again, if you've used free roam in the past, you have the option to delete anything that gets in your way. Again, Freight Hauler is that mode where it's kind of a puzzle you can solve in any way you like. So if you want to be a bit chaotic and spawn whatever you need in to get the job done, feel free to do that. And if that has consequences on the timetable, then find a way around it, I suppose. But yeah, for the most part, hopefully most things. And again, hopefully a lot of those quality of life features, all of that will work on all of your content and really just make it feel a lot better. Glenn Dewig, we got a question about how soon until GeForce Now. Matt, you mentioned this is in progress. Is there any note on that?
So we were actually waiting for the Steam pages to go live so that it would publish the update that would allow the GeForce Now team to access it because we needed to set a toggle. That's now been done. We've let them know. We've been in communication with NVIDIA for a while now on this. I don't know what the time scale is, but it is in progress. So we'll keep you up to speed on that. But yeah, I don't know what the time scale is.
We'll let you know if we can confirm it. We'll share it in our news. Okay, a big one here from Daniel, and I think I've seen a few comments in the chat on it as well. We're going to talk a little bit about blurry textures. I think it's something that we talked a lot about for Train Sim 6. We talked a little bit about how some of the settings you get, especially on like the kind of PC settings that we were talking about, do have tiny notes of optimizations here and there. It's just kind of a question of like, how does that all tie in? Where are we with some of the texture optimizations and some of the work that the team have been doing?
So the main program of work at the moment is a texture pass across everything. Some of that's been released already for 6. Some of it's ongoing and will come out later on in 7 in multiple drops because there's quite a lot of it to do. But we're seeing some good improvements with each one we do. It seems to be improving things. We're also looking at inter-package dependencies, and we're finding some places that we can trim those down a bit, where there's the team had added dependencies they might use and then didn't end up using them. Now, the game will still try and load all of those, and on PlayStation, at least, it'll fail at a certain point. Now, there aren't many packages affected by that, but it's still affecting load times and all sorts of things. So, as well as going through all the textures, we're going through all the optimizing of the inter-package dependencies. Some of that's been done, and we will be carrying on with that. So, a lot of packages to go through. And then the last thing we're doing is we're going through core memory usage and optimization of the game because there's sort of video memory, the texture pool, and there's the not video memory essentially. And what happens is the way that the texture pool works, any of inefficiencies in the main part of the memory usage can impact on the texture pool. So there's another place that could be causing problems for that texture pool. So we're going to be tearing that apart with a fine-tooth comb to work out where the inefficiencies are in there, if there are any. Suspect there probably are, and then trying to optimize those as well, which will hopefully let the texture pool expand out to its full size. So that one's quite an in-depth job. There's a lot of code in Train Sim World to go through, and there's lots of different ways things interplay together. So that stuff is difficult, but that's kind of and I think that covers every aspect of anywhere that can be causing a problem. But the texture improvements, sorry, the texture optimization that we're doing, that will come out progressively, and is kind of like that's the short term improvement, and then this optimization of the core game then becomes the long term improvement, which should have a more, hopefully a more substantial effect. But we haven't really got too far into that investigation, so I don't want to go too far with it. But yeah, there's multiple prongs of attack going on with this one, and we're scaling up what we're doing.
Really gives you a good answer there, Daniel, as well. And again, I think there's a lot of questions about this from some of the community as well. We'll keep sharing more. I mean, it's a big long term. We've always talked about it as like progress. It's not one thing you fix and it's done. You know, optimization is constant process. So scaling up is a good sign, and hopefully we'll have more good news to share as we continue. Okay, I'm going to continue. We've got El Brisato. I'm going to go with that. If it's wrong, I apologize. Why does Ultimate Edition have Train Towards 6 DLC? We touched on it before. It's because we wanted to make Train Towards 6 7 Edition. No, it's because more people are coming into the game this year. What I would say is, for those of you asking about, well, I've already got Train Towards 6 content, and so Ultimate doesn't feel like it's a good offer. If you've already got it, then it's not a great offer for you to pick up. It's if you've already got a lot of that content, just go for something like the standard or the deluxe edition. Essentially, you know, ultimately it's a package that will really benefit you if you don't have Train Towards 6 content, but if you do, then it's kind of a package that's not necessarily designed with you in mind. Pick up the content and the deluxe and the standard editions that really do have a higher value in them, and it comes at a low price point. Again, essentially, if you've already got the content, then you've already got it. So that we kind of designed it with that in mind. Sorry, I've ruined the chat again. Right, we've got a question from Malik RHTR here. Question about the Epic settings. So will mid-range PCs be able to use them? Probably a question for you, Matt. I think obviously mid-range is vague, but I understand it's hard to know what do we mean by mid-range, what do we mean by high-end PC, and how will we know if they're able to be used?
Your mileage may vary, or your mileage will vary. Obviously, the only person that can decide whether or not a frame rate or an experience is good enough for you is you. And you know, I've got preferences on frame rate versus visual quality, and other people have different preferences on that. So I can't tell you how you're going to get on. What I will say is, Epic Settings has, as I've said earlier, it's across multiple things. It's not a single on-off. So you've got opportunity to sort of turn something up to epic, but maybe not other things up to epic, and say actually that's better. Or maybe using something like NVIDIA smooth motion frame generation, or using FSR for frame generation, you could, you know, target 30 FPS instead of 60 FPS, and then use the frame gen to get back up to 60 FPS. So there are lots of combinations and ways, and I've actually found it really interesting trying to explore what that all means. Someone asked, does DLSS have frame gen? No, it does not. As I said earlier on, the reason for that is the DLSS plugin that we're using is actually UE5 plugin, because the UE4 one, I think, uses an older version of DLSS, and we wanted to bring the best upscaler into the game. But that means that in order to bring in it wasn't possible to get frame gen working because it depends on too much of UE5. So you've got a lot of flexibility with how you can tailor this to your system, really, because, like, say for example, you can dial the settings up, set your frame rate down to something like 30, use upscaling then to that target, so that you can reduce the weight on things, and then smooth gen or FSR upscaling to then put the frame rate. There's all sorts of options for how you can configure this and make it work. So what I would say is play with it. This is it gives a lot of opportunity for you to fine tune and improve the experience. And even on lower end machines like Steam Deck, for example, I mean, in Training Center on Steam Deck now, I get a pretty solid 60 FPS. And in on the Nuremberg group, I think I get around like 45 or something like that. So, which on a Steam Deck is unheard of, in Training World at least. So, JP, if you want frame gen, use FSR or use NVIDIA Smooth Motion, right? Which is a frame gen on the NVIDIA platform. That works great. We've got several beta testers using NVIDIA Smooth Motion with TSR or TSW mixed in with the DLAA upscaling. So it's I found it really quite fun exploring, you know, what it can do, and obviously the opportunity to actually have the same settings at a lower, at the same FPS I normally do, but reduce the amount of power it takes on the machine as well. My laptop is it's a reasonably high spec laptop, but the problem is it's full of dust and stuff these days, so it throttles itself really quickly and starts cooking itself. And these settings have meant that I can dial down the GPU usage and so forth, where that doesn't happen, and I can maintain, a barely respectable 30 frames per second on this thing. It really needs a Hoover takeover, I think. It gives you lots of flexibility to, you decide what's right for you, and then change and make the settings try and meet that.
There you go. Great answer though, Matt. I always learn something on these streams as well. Okay, I think Malik, you had a couple other questions. I'll just go over them really quick. One of them was about the leaks around Port Jefferson. I will just say, I don't really know where that came from. There was a picture, I think, sent from the editor. I think I checked with you, Matt, the other day, and there's nothing to confirm now. Not really sure where
And I
it came
think
from.
that what you have to remember when you're digging through the files, like you see place names, the station directories and other things and announcements files will include place names that are on other routes, because they're like Stanford, for example, probably includes chunks of the stuff from the Long Island Railroad, and other routes might include that. So you will find lots of crossover from that. But yeah, it's been fun seeing that little side path as we're all sitting there getting ready to announce Tri-Rail, and everyone's convinced it's Long Island Railroad. So it's, but no, it's that's not a thing.
And then I think you wanted to ask a little bit about third-party devs. Now, usually we don't answer questions like this that we can't answer, but ultimately, we do have some more devs. Nothing that we're going to share at this point. They're obviously working on stuff, they're working on content, but we do have some US third-party devs working with us that haven't been announced. So there's more content coming. Just stay tuned. There's always more things that we can't wait to share. And that's what we'll say for now. But just stay tuned. More roadmaps will come. More announcements will come. That includes the US and maybe other places as well. Okay, we got one from Alex Toyney 2000. Will we get both variants of the 331s, and will it layer onto Doncaster to Peterborough?
I'm assuming you mean 4-car and 3-car, in which case yes. No plans to layer it onto Peterborough Doncaster.
Yes, for the variants then, we'll take that. Stewjoy. This is a bit of I guess an odd one in the mix, I think. It was just a note on, can we hide the route hopping markers? I don't know if we've got an option for doing that kind of like UI.
Not yet. It is something that I want to add it on the to-do list, but no, it's not there yet.
We've got one from Dal here, and I can answer this. This was just a general note on patches and how patches for Train Sim World 6 will go. Same as usual when it comes to when we've announced the next edition in the Train Sim World series. There are no more plans for patches for Train Sim World 6, like dedicated larger updates. Obviously, if Train Sim World 6 still needs hotfixes, we will still support the game as much as we can, and that's important to us. So no, the updates will generally be focused more towards Train Sim World 7, and we're kind of hoping with all the quality of life and other improvements, and I appreciate that downloading is a bit of a hurdle, and I think for a lot of people it's quite frustrating, understandable. But ultimately, Train Sim World 7 is just the better core. Get onto it for free. It has a lot of great quality of life stuff. It is free to just upgrade. You get to bring everything else along. But also, we know that there's also people on Gen 8 platforms that won't be able to upgrade because Train Sim World 7 is Gen 9 and PC only. So we'll make sure that Train Sim World 6 obviously still works the way it does, gets hotfixes, but updates will primarily be focused on Train Sim World 7. Okay, Matt, another one for you, I think, because again, when it gets a bit technical, Matt, it goes over my head a little too much. Stutters. So, DirectX 12. Is this going to help with stutters?
It's going to change the stutters. Let's put it that way. Remember, some of the stutters have got nothing to do with DirectX or anything like that. They are to do with this thing I've called in the past world origin rebasing as you travel down the line. I won't reiterate that description now. I've said it before in the past. Maybe we'll do an article on it at some point, Alex, just so that you've got something to refer back to. But some of the stutters about that, and those can't be got rid of, unfortunately. In other cases, DirectX 12 is going to change the way shader compilation happens a bit, which means that the nature of the shader, the hitches might change. But the same really is true. Once you've done the shader compilation, it kind of doesn't do it again. Now, one thing I would recommend is look at your graphics card settings. You can choose how big the shader cache is, because you might find with shader caches, at its default settings, you might find if you're using lots and lots of different content, the the shader cache keeps getting over full, and so it throws stuff out the bottom. And which means that you'll sort of like do 5 or 6 routes, and then when you go back to one of the other ones, you find it's back to hitching again, redoing the shader cache. So there are settings where you can adjust that in the graphics driver settings. So I recommend certainly having a look at that. There's PEGI builds said DX12 got rid of 90% of starters on TSW6. So different people have had different experiences when it comes to DX12 on that. That's not been a universal truth. So I didn't want to make that claim, but I have seen that comment from people who've been using DX12 on prior builds, because it's been available for people to use prior to TSW7. It's just not on the default. Yeah, you may find it improves it, you may find it doesn't. So again, this is where everyone's different hardware configurations. The joy and the pain of the PC is you've all got a different PC. So try it and find out and see how it goes.
Great answer as well. Just a quick one again from Pseudo Stalker here. Does DirectX 12 have any effect on in-game audio?
I don't think so.
Shouldn't do. Obviously, let us know. Obviously, but that comes down to just general bug reporting and around the launch of Train Sim 7. But hopefully, just helps make the experience better, and fingers crossed, reduces any stutters that you're seeing. But obviously, one PC is not the same as the next, especially the conditions you keep them in. I don't know the last time I opened a can of air and cleaned this one out either, so I think my PC is suffering probably. Okay, a couple more again from Pseudo Stalker. So this is a fun one. I won't spend too long on it because I've spoken a ton on it in Q&As. Speaking of which, if you want more Q&As, generally speaking, every Wednesday I try and be in our Dovetail Discord and do a bit of a Q&A. I will be doing one next week ahead of the early access starting, and one the week after launch. So I'm assuming there'll be loads of questions, but we talked about this recently. Why can't we just patch Train Sim Mod 6 into Train Sim Mod 7? Why can we not just ship an update and there it is? We probably could find a way to do it. I mean, again, apologies, Matt. You may win to some of the things I say here if it doesn't work. I'm just going to speak broadly, holistically. We probably could find a way to do it. Is it the right thing to do, though? Generally, what we found is no. We know that there's some pain with coming up with a new core, and for some people that is downloading. For others in the past, it's been buying a new core and buying the new content. And I don't think this question, what you're asking here isn't about buying and what you get when you do buy new editions. It's just simply about like how we deliver updates and new things with Train Sim World. Right now, the value we get of making a new game massively supports us. And I'll just use the recent example. Train Sim World 7, when we put it on Gamescom Live, when we announced a new game, when we put a new page out, we put a new direct out, generated 100 million audience reach points. I guess you call them points or a score. Essentially, it's again, I'm going to say take it with a very, very large handful of salt. But the idea is maybe up to 100 million people saw our trailer because we made a new game. And that's potentially 100 million people that could download a free starter pack and play the game. Will 100% of those 100 million play it? Certainly not. But even if 0.1% did, that's thousands and thousands and thousands of people playing Train Sim World, maybe for the first time. Maybe they've always had an interest in trains and they never knew we existed. Or maybe they kind of have an interest, but they've never had a chance to explore that in a game. Maybe it's their first game. There's so many reasons. Making a new game understandable. Yeah, I mean, in the chat, one word: marketing. I think don't underestimate the power of marketing. We're not just here, we're a business. We need to make money and we need to support our teams. Yes, of course. And there's so many third-party teams to support. But we're also a community. We're a fan base. We're hobbyists. We're enthusiasts. There's rail fans. We're a collective of people that want to make rail simulation truly the best thing that we can. And that's what we strive to do at Dovetail. And so marketing, yeah, sure, but marketing and community and having that group of people to do something like that and bring that passion in, and I'm sure you could talk about this as well, Matt, it's more than just marketing. It's how do we package this in a way that we can keep doing what we're here to do, which is bring you all the best simulation possible, to bring you all the passion that you love in the best way. And sometimes that is a new game and a new trailer and everything that comes with it. So long answer.
It's something that's I think marketing is quite often said with a degree of scorn by some people in the community, and I think that's a real shame. It's certainly misunderstood by a lot of developers, and I'm not talking about any other. I mean, generally, in my history, I'm a software engineer outside of Dovetail Games, and that side of things has always been, you don't need it, just the people who are doing the real work are making the stuff, right? And actually, you don't find your product will not reach its players without the brilliant work the marketing do. The thousands of images, the amount of time they put into those trailers. I adore that trailer that was put together for TSW7. I think it's brilliant. And then Alex, what you and your team did with the Dovetail Direct was just blew my mind. It's so good. And that stuff gets people excited, gets people hyped, finds new players, and that's what helps. It's not just about the game. I think that we are always exploring ways. We always explore the question. Every year it comes up, and we have the discussions. We do some research, look into it, and it's difficult to do. But that's one of the reasons Restarter Pack was added, because we wanted to make it to where you have to pay to keep going. You could get it, you could keep on with your, get all the updated core features and get next year's DLC content without having to buy an edition. If you didn't, there's nothing in the edition you actually wanted. You just get the free starter pack and you carry on. And that was one of the main reasons free starter pack came around, was to try and say, well, this is a halfway house with doing it in place. So the downside there is obviously the re-download, but again, we're working to see what we can do on that front.
And can I just say as well from the chat, I mean, just call out a couple of people. DJ Lima, Benjamin always cooks with the new main menu music, of course. And there have been a couple instances where making a new game does help us kind of relook at certain things. But David as well, like, everyone wants this game to prosper. And I think that's the kind of ending note, I think, on this just one question. I think Dovetail Games is made with enthusiasts, whether it's people that are absolutely super passionate about the Rails and have this awesome knowledge, or whether they're building that enthusiasm with what they do. It's a company that want to do. We're a company of people, a group of people that want to do right by everyone and always do better. And hopefully, we're constantly moving in that direction, various speeds, but we're getting there. But folks, we do this. Marketing's important. TLDR is important. We have to do it. But hopefully, that's a bit of insight. We do have some more questions. I will note the final one from Pseudo Stalker, which is on live weather. Is it only for the current day? Yes. We don't have historic features. There was reasons, but it's only for the current day. So, yeah, I mean, you get to be a live weather reporter. It'd be kind of interesting if you're driving along, suddenly it's raining. You just know, oh, it's raining somewhere, or if there's a rainbow. But there you go. Right, Peace shares. Root merging one day. This is a big topic of discussion. Maybe we shouldn't touch on it for too long. But the idea is obviously more than just root hopping, root merging. It's a big project.
Root merging won't be a thing for TSW. We have explored it. There's a thing called a persistent tile, which is a key part of Unreal 4. Every root has a persistent tile, but there can only be one persistent tile, and therefore you would have to find a way to merge tiles together, and it still makes sense. No, root merging won't be a thing for TSW. That doesn't mean to say that there can't be new products which have merged things together and released as a new product. We've done that before. Stanford, I think, merged 3 different products together, bits and pieces of things. And I think Trenton and I think might have done something similar. Those things at that level can help. But joining the root merging that I know you will want to do won't happen. I think we just have to draw a line on that. I don't see that happening on TSW. I am looking at what I can do with the root hopping feature though, to see if we can't do something cleverer with it. And I don't know when that'll happen. To be fair, that's purely R&D at this point and a dream of mine. Because I get what you want to do and why you want to do it, but I've got to be honest, I don't see it happening in TSW.
Good answer, thank you, Matt. And a final one from you, Pseudo Stalker. And again, we're probably going to wrap up soon, folks. We've got about maybe 10 more questions. You just noted, was there a shortcut for the FOB? I believe this is only a main menu slider. I don't think there's any alt mouse wheel shortcuts. Maybe there's a way to do that with the API, but I think right now it's only in the menu, a slider. So there we are. In-car. Technical question, probably one for you, Matt. So what version of SFS are we using? It is 4. I do know that. That's on the FAQs as a note. And then like we a little bit repeating before, but what are the hardware requirements to use it? I think you wanted to know a little bit about 4.1, and it's touching on what you said before.
Yeah, so it's 4.0 specifically. 4.1, you'll have seen it being talked about. I think the Steam Deck has 4.1 in beta support, and there's 4.1 being talked about elsewhere. The plugin that we're using doesn't even have 4.1 support in it yet. So, because I did ask the team about, is 4.1 there? Could we just throw it in for the release? And they all looked at me like I was. But we looked at it, and if it's not ready yet. So it's something we'll keep an eye on. But yes, 4.0, which is the better visuals compared to 3. 3.0 was far inferior compared to visuals. And in terms of hardware requirements, there aren't any. FSR runs on either card, AMD cards and NVIDIA cards. NVIDIA, the DLSS only runs on NVIDIA hardware, but FSR runs on both because I think it sits on CPU rather than GPU. So yeah, you can use it, but if you've got an NVIDIA card, why wouldn't you use DLSS? It is better than FSR in terms of DLAA is gorgeous. But FSR, if you've got a Steam machine or something with AMD GPU, FSR, gives you a big boost. Like I said, my Steam Deck runs so much better. Steam machine, I've got a Steam machine behind me, and runs so much better as well using FSR.
I'll just say, careful a little bit with your mic, Matt. I think it's maybe a little bit muffled. Hope something.
I will move my microphone closer.
Thank you. Okay, a couple of questions. So we had one about auto safety systems, German freight services. Will the game distinguish between PZBM and U? Matt, you had a better answer than me on this, I think.
So the answer to it is no. So the auto safety systems is about turning them on, and that's it. Configuring them is up to you. If you say you want PZB on, then PZ will be on in whatever mode that train defaults to when it powers on. So if you're in the current in 6, if you sit in the seat, press Control Enter, and the PZB powers up, that's what you would effectively get. I mean, it's not exactly how it's working, but that's the end result that you're going to get, which probably means in a lot of cases, passenger trains will boot up in U, and I think freight trains will probably boot up in M. If you want a different mode, then you'll have to go and make that change yourself. It doesn't look at the weight and the power and braking capability of the train to work out whether or not it should be a UM or a U.
That's great, thank you, Matt. Ruben, I'll just answer you in the chat. Rayman IGN trailer. This is really funny, by the way, and I really wanted to call it out. Yeah, IGN, just a bit of fun. No bad feelings at all. IGN posted Train Sim World 7. They were meant to repost our trailer. They had all the copy in their post, but then they uploaded the Rayman trailer. So we tweeted back at it, having some fun. It's all good. It's all good, but a bit of fun. We didn't plan that, but I think it just happened, but it's all good. All right, Alpha Star. I know you pinged me a bit before about this. So another technical one, a bit of alphabet soup. Here we go. Would we be able to change the DLSS model and override it within a video app?
Yeah, I've actually been playing with an app called DLSS Swapper, which is pretty standard amongst people playing with DLSS, and that works. I've not actually tried using the built-in NVIDIA stuff, but I don't see the reason why it won't work. And if you turn on the DLSS overlay, the debug overlay, that works. In some modes, I've noticed it doesn't. It shows up just as black. With black on black text, essentially. I have no idea why it does that, but in another modes it works fine. And then you can see, actually, the nice thing about that debug is we know that when you look at the different performance modes, you can see what it's rendering at and scaling up to. So you can actually see the literal things that the upscaler is doing as well. So yeah, you should be able to use DLSS Swapper, the inbuilt NVIDIA stuff. It's pretty standard stuff. I can't remember which mode transformer model it's using. It's one of L or M, I think, by default. It's DLSS 4.5 that's implemented.
Thank you, Matt. One from Rutget Luiton. Again, probably butchered that. Really sorry. NPCs, have they been remodeled or updated? I don't believe so.
No.
So maybe you're just seeing some really good screenshots with the new lighting, maybe, perhaps. But no model changes. Mitch, you asked about Lisbon. I touched on this before, but just to answer you directly, did you record the motor sounds? Well, what I can say is the Virtual Via 360 team, they've had full access to the sheds from Fertigus and from the audios they're sourcing. they're very in depth. They're a wonderful team. They're super passionate, but they were telling me all about it. So yes, I think so. The team probably can share some more info on what that's like, and I would definitely encourage reaching out and kind of supporting them as well. But they've had a lot of access, so I'm hoping so. But yeah, I would think so. They've had a lot of extra love from the Fertigus team, helping them all the way. Okay, course Tim, will the updates to dynamic weather be for all routes? We did answer that. Yes, it's system wide. So again, I think we touched on it before, but pretty much all of the features we've got included are basically system wide. Note on Freight Hauler being for Trains Mod 7 routes, but you can use your whole collection with the free roam settings, and then the lighting with Todd 4. Otherwise, everything else you can pretty much expect.
Yeah, well,
box.
one of the big changes to the dynamic weather was improving the fog transitions, because they were sudden before, so they've been smoothed out quite a lot. They look a lot better now. So so that was, I think, one of the big changes was fixing that.
Oh, lovely. And I'm just noting in the chat as well, JPCPT, Virtual Bio 360 dev here, they were recorded. There you go. Mitch, hopefully you got your answer. Like I said, they're active in our Dovetail Discord. They're really great devs. So yes, they were recorded, but also if you have any more questions you want to support the team, definitely do it. 5 more folks, 5 more. Okay. Old Vern, save game slot, something we're going back to again. So what I will say is, appreciate we've been talking about this for a while. I do have a graphic about our seasonal updates. We didn't really touch on this too much today, but we've talked about it a lot on our roadmap and our articles and in the direct. Generally, we've got some windows throughout the year where we're looking at planning some bigger updates and trying to fold in community feedback. We don't want to commit to anything right away while we're still in the kind of Train to Mod 7 launch phase, but the idea is to hopefully work that in when we've got some scope for it, and we know that there's a big desire there. I think, Matt, you put a little note here as well about exploring the option currently, but there's no plans. Pretty much
it's on a list. It's on a short list of things that I want to get done sooner rather than later. But I don't want to commit to any time of when that would be at the moment. But yeah, it's come up a lot, not just from myself, but from a bunch of other people as well. So we're looking into what would be the right way to do that. So yeah, look out for updates at some point in the future, and that's not any hint. It's probably not soon,
but it is something we know is wanted. Jerher 1991 physical edition. You noted that we don't have any physical box releases. I think there's a question in chat on this. We just don't have any plans for a box release that we've shared at this time. Obviously, I know the conversation around physical editions and content in games is a big topic right now. We can't say we've got any plans. We've also got to consider the fact that like developing it is a cost. We've got to understand like the kind of desire for that is diminishing. And also the support on the actual platforms themselves is diminishing. What I would say is that, again, I appreciate, I don't mean to say this in a way that's demeaning, but you can, I've seen people in the past, they build their own kind of, they use the frame of a PlayStation 5 box and they kind of layer in the cases, because I think you specifically noted that it's nice to actually have the collection. But in terms of actually owning physical media and having it yourself, there's no plans for a box edition that we've shared. Sonic Shogun, any French content. The only reason I put this in here, and again, we usually don't answer questions where it's just, have we been asked X thing? If it's not on a roadmap, then we'll share about it later or stuff. There was a lot of ask for French content, and I think just to acknowledge the French community and the French fans out there, there's nothing to announce. We've had a huge amount of announcements. We're just going to focus on them for a little bit. If there's anything that we can share for French, at some point we will, but there's nothing to share yet. So we know there's a huge desire there. I just wanted to call that out. But yeah, nothing to share. If it's not on the roadmap, we can't say anything else. Archline, I think you asked a question about the PC editor. Any plans to further improve or support the editor at present? There's nothing new that we've worked on just yet. What I will say, though, is when Train to Mod 7 launches on September 15th, you will obviously get the editor working and functional with Train to Mod 7. Now, Matt, you did answer this in the chat earlier, and I'll let you answer it again because I think it's something that I think MPW1 you noted, but a couple of people have mentioned it. It's the KWVR at 90 on the Airedale Wharfdale line. It's the historic line.
It's the Keithley and Worth Valley Railway.
Yes. I remember you saying something about this to me a long time ago.
Yeah. So the Keithley and Worth Valley Railway is a very charming, lovely railway. That obviously runs out of Keighley, which is on the line between Leeds and Skipton. And when you arrive at Keighley Station, the Keighley Station is modelled. You'll be able to see, and I think the timetable places some layers of Mark One stock and various heritage trains on that bit, on that half of the station, but it's not playable part of the line. I desperately and dearly want to model the Keighley and Worth Valley Railway. There are many good reasons. We stretched the plan to get the freight bits in on this particular project. I wanted to get the line up to Ralston and the little bit down to Hunslet in this one, beyond what was already quite a substantial route with the network in there and a lot of big stations in it. So I really wanted to get that freight bit in there, because that gives you, actually, it's important to realize that is a full end-to-end run of freight. So where you will pick up the load of cargo at the top of the route and then deliver it at the bottom of the route. It's not a middle of a journey, it's a full end-to-end run. And I thought this is a rare opportunity where it fits onto a route. So we stretched to get that in. Getting the Keighley Worth Valley Railway in as well, and I did ask, was too much. It was a stretch too far. So we left that out. So will we ever do it? I'd love to. I can't say we would do anything, when it might happen or anything like that. I do have some proposals together for what I would like to do there. So watch the space. It's something I would dearly like to do. I visited the Keighley and Worth Valley Railway a while ago. My family went to a concert for one of their favourite bands in Leeds. So obviously I took myself out, not being remotely interested in that band. I took myself out up and went on to the Keighley and Worth Valley Railway. I had a brilliant time. It's really interesting because it's really steep in one direction, both directions obviously, but it's steep up out to the end, and then it's a downhill run back, and that makes for an interesting drive. So if you have the opportunity to go to Keighley and Worth Valley Railway in reality, please do. It is well worth the journey. The museum is superb to go and look over, and the trains and so forth they run are amazing too. So, but no, not in the game. No plans to add it. Strong desires to add it.
Thank you, Matt. All right, folks, one more from you, Matt, one more from me, and then we're going to wrap up. So, Matt, you got an API question, I think, that Asher Project Relabel asked.
Yeah, so no is the answer to that question, but there is something coming. It didn't make it for release, unfortunately. So what I want to add, what is coming at some point when it's working, is all the objective information. So at the moment you've got lots of train information, but there's nothing about what is the current objective, what are all of the objectives you've got coming up, when is the next stop, all that stuff. So that's the next thing that's coming, but didn't quite make it into 7. So that will come at some point after 7.
And then one last one for my list on the Q&As. Just a general note, and I'll answer it fairly quickly, but how long did it take you to edit the stuff in the Direct? I wanted to just shout out and use this as a chance to say a huge thank you to the Blueprint editing team. They're a wonderful set of folks, a small team that help us make the Dovetail Direct, and they've helped us make the last few of them. They're always brilliant, and they put so much love in. It takes us a while, I'll be honest. Usually 3 months or so, in 2 to 3 months. So we have to go into the office and obviously get all the recording done. And then we have obviously got to try and get all the information we need. And there's a lot of information to get. I mean, there's a lot of stuff on the roadmap. There's obviously a lot of animations we want to build. We've got to learn about the game. We've got to get all the features in. There's a lot to put in. Usually takes a few months. It's really fun. It's a really fun process. We get to be really creative. And the idea of doing city animated shorts is something that we had in mind from the beginning. So actually making it can take 2 to 3 months, but the actual planning for the Dovetail Direct happened near the start of the year. So it starts with a smaller group, and it's something that I look closely at, and a few other people in our team start getting some ideas on a mood board and start thinking about where we want to take the Direct this year and what we want to do with it. And we thought about doing something silly with animations for a while, but we had no idea how that would look. And then when we got the first edit back of Matt with the South Park animation and jumping onto a train and JD's a wagon, it was fun. It was really fun. It was really great.
Really good. Yeah, when Alex first started explaining to me, what the concept was, I'm like,
that sounds interesting. But even then, I was not prepared when I first saw that first prototype mock-up that came back. I was like, okay, that's going to be special when it's finished. So, and for those of you that are familiar with Unreal editing, don't confuse Blueprint with Blueprint. It's a team called Blueprint.
Yes.
The relationship of the name is entirely coincidental, and they are such a professional, talented group. They come into the office. It takes like 3 full days to do all of the filming, which is a really intense period, and they get everything going. And what always surprised me about or impressed me about the Blueprint team is how much they know about what we do, and how much they get invested. They are asking questions as well to try and drive it and say, actually, no, I think we could say that a little bit better like this, or so that's always made life really interesting and a lot of fun when we do those, because we feel like we're talking to peers, and really respect what they do. And then, as Alex said, you cannot underestimate or overestimate how much time is taken in actually taking those clips and turning them into that 1 hour broadcast. So yeah, no, super impressed. And I want to give personally a big shout out to you, Alex, because you led that project and you did it brilliant.
A big team, loads of people, so many moving parts. And we've always had you on every year, which has made it special too. So yeah, I want to say thank you to everyone again. 10,000, almost just shy, but pretty much 10,000 people watching live, folks. That's crazy.
That's a significant achievement. Yeah, that is. It was really fascinating to see that. Yeah.
Right, folks, we have talked about Train Simulator 7 for an hour, and then we talked about the roadmap for an hour, which I'm sure a lot of you loved, and there was a lot of love in the chat. Then we did some Q&A for near an hour. We're gonna wrap up. Brace yourself. You're going to be hit with some marketing in a moment, but I just want to say thank you for coming to the stream. Note that there will be some more streams. Again, don't forget, we're going to do some previews next week. Pretty much right off the bat on Wednesday and on Thursday, you're going to get to see Train Sim World 7 live in action. And in the following week, you get the UK route, and then basically it's out. I mean, we're not far away from full launch. So it's coming really quick. You'll get a ton of awesome ambassador content, so make sure to tune into that. Check out the ambassadors anyway, because they've seen and played the game. They know a lot more about it than we've shared as well, and they'll have their own opinions, and that's really great. Join in the conversations, join the Dovetail Discord for one, I'll plug that as well. But for everyone that's joined us tonight, it's been a wonderful journey, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And thank you again for just bringing us a really wonderful announce. I think we've really done a lot more this year to try and do better for quality of life and really keep improving the sim. And I hope a lot of you are seeing that. And almost 100,000 on YouTube, Richie Whale. Thank you for that shout out as well. Almost there. If we get the plaque, we're going to have some fun with it. Folks, okay, I did brace you. Train Sim World 7 is coming on September 15th. Guess what? You can get it for free. Also, bonus note, because I forgot to say it earlier, you know Tom Connell, the really awesome genius artist that draws trains and hand draws trains. He helped us make the kiosks. This is a work in progress screenshot with his work. He worked with our team, Rachel from our creative team. Shout out to Rachel. Helped us make the kiosks come to life. So he actually drew these logos and we added onto it with all these awesome effects. Isn't that awesome? Anyway, Train Sim World 7, it's coming September 15th. You can pre-order it right now. You get a huge discount. You can get some of the best content at a great offer. And you get 10% discount on top of that as well. If you pre-order before September 15th, you get early access as well. So you can get in from September 10th and be there with all the creators from day one. We're going to be talking to you in previews and Q&As and all the good bits. And you know what? If you just want to get the free edition and ride along for the journey and get some of the roadmap content, then go for it, because there's so much coming in the next year and on the roadmap ahead. So many amazing add-ons. We're going to Japan for the first time. We're going to Portugal for the first time. You know what? We're going back to the US, UK, and Germany because we've got even more amazing content, especially from the 1980s era, as well as so much more. So if you're interested, dive in through all the articles. But folks, I think we've pretty much wrapped up here for tonight. And breathe, I guess. Matt, you've been wonderful. It's been a pleasure having you on, answering the questions, and truly you've been, it's just another amazing year, Matt. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Alex, and thanks everyone who's watching. And yeah, I think we've got some good content coming up with streams to do and so forth. So look forward to seeing you there.
And thank you, Liam's buddy 1149 in chat for one last 6-7 for the road. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. All right, folks, we're going to wrap it there. Have a great evening. If you're watching the GTA 6 stuff, go for it. We're done here now, so do what you like. We'll see you around. Goodbye, everyone.